Hello everyone, this is Max Payne 3, hold school difficulty, no damage. And just a quick little thing before we start this video, I will be uploading a no commentary version. I'll put it in the description in case that you don't want to hear my bad commentary over this like 3 hour long video, almost 4 hours, so I will recommend you if you don't want that to watch the no commentary video and enjoy the run with the game sound and stuff like that. But for the people that want to stick to stick here and hear my horrible voice and probably not understand anything because there's no subtitles to translate my horrible accent, but that's fine. So Max Payne 3. This old school difficulty, I'm going to do old school difficulty in this video because I already did hardcore difficulty before. If you search my channel, there will be a playlist with the hardcore difficulty. It was my second run on my channel, and my thoughts about old school difficulty is that old school difficulty is way easier, at least from my experience. But I remember that I had a harder time on hardcore difficulty, and when I played this old school difficulty, I didn't have that much of a harder time. I like most sections that I was stuck in hardcore for like 1 or 2 hours. I got like stuck like for half an hour like max, or maybe 1 hour in old school difficulty. I don't know. You can say that probably I got better at the game since I did it on hardcore and I already know a lot about this game. So from that, and so I'm a little bit better. But I don't know. I feel that the game was easier. I don't think that I got that much better. I haven't played this game like since my last run. It was almost a year ago. I don't know. I just feel that old school is easier. Maybe it's because you get more bullet time. And another reason that I'm doing this run is because my hardcore run, I kind of cheesed some parts because I use the iframes that you get on during the shoot dodge, because when you shoot dodge in this game, even if someone hits you, you won't take damage. It will appear the hit marker and the bullets will hit you like physically, but it won't damage you because you get iframes in the shoot dodge. But on this run, I want to change that and I want to make it a little bit harder. And if I get shot during a shoot dodge, I will restart the checkpoint. And another thing is that I will use the shoot dodge less because on old school it seems that the bullet time is a little bit is a little bit more generous than hardcore, since I remember. But on hardcore I would spam dodge, so I didn't have a lot of bullet time because the dodge really wastes a lot of bullet time. So I don't really know. But I don't know. I think old school it's easier in a lot of ways. And by the way, I will skip the cutscenes that the game lets me skip, which are not a lot because this game really likes to make you watch everything all over again. And I'm glad that at least the cutscenes in this game are good, because if they weren't good, this would be miserable. And here's the first encounter. I'm not going to I wish I could share in more detail what I'm doing, but this game is just, you just shoot and you just need to know where the enemy placements are, which I don't really. I'm kinda rusty and I'm like trying to see. I thought there was a guy over there, and I think I did the same mistake in my hardcore run. But yeah, you just need to know the enemy placements. Maybe uh, use your bullet time intelligently, I guess. There's not really much that I can share about, my strategies, because this game is a simple game. When you think about it, you just need to practice a lot, I guess, and knowing where everyone is, and having a decent aim like me. My aim is not great. My aim is bad. I already said this on my Resident Evil 6 not walkthrough, but my Resident Evil 6 run, that my aiming is in games is not the best. So if you have a decent aim or a better aim than me, you are going to be fine if you know where everything is. So yeah, I already know these guys are coming from there, so I'm going to use the bullet time to kill them real quickly. And there will be a guy in this door, so I will kind of step aside because he will immediately shoot you when he opens that door. You can dodge right in front of him, and the bullets will hit you, and you won't take damage. But like I said before, I'm avoiding that. This part's not hard. I will use the shoot dodge and try my best to aim, which I don't know if I did good, and I failed this. And every time that this happens, I really hate I really hate it, because it's kind of fail, because it just shows that I don't really know this that well. I could have dodged forward and got and killed that guy faster, but I didn't do that. Um, and I think the hardest chapters will be like, I think the biggest difficulty spike is in chapter 7 and forward. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You just need to know where the enemy placements are. The most difficult sections about in this game is because it's because you don't really know where the it's not because you don't really know the enemy places. Because the enemy placements are in awkward places. Like in chapter 10, the worst section in chapter 10 is because enemies are in such a great distance that you can't really see them and shoot them accurately, but they can shoot you 100% accurately, because they are machines, they're bots, and their aiming in this difficulty especially is really really good. I don't know which difficulty has the best aiming, but I would assume that hardcore has the best aiming, if I remember correctly. Because I remember when I was recording my hardcore run, I remember the enemy's aim being way better than this, like really really good. Because on hardcore I would go into the open, and if you would go, I remember going into the open, and the second that I would go there, I would show my body, I guess. They would shoot me just like that. Just the second I would, sometimes it would happen. It wasn't frequently, but it would happen a lot. And this difficulty, I think they are more generous with that. At least that's what I think. It's my experience. I don't know. I just think that old school's not that hard compared to hardcore. And we are going to chapter 2. Chapter 2, it has a really long cutscene. You can't really skip the the cutscene at the beginning, even though the game says it's loading. The game is not really loading. It's not the way of masking loading. Unless that this game, I don't know. I don't think it's low because there's a mod that can remove these cutscenes, and that mod just proves it that the game is not really loading during these cutscenes. Because I think GTA 5 can load faster than this game, and I know it uses the same engine, and this game is older than GTA 5 and it's not as big as GTA 5, so I think this game would probably, I think by now, like in this part right now, I think by now you could already skip this cutscene. If this game was open world, I would understand, but it's not open world, and I don't think that it's going to. I don't think it's that heavy. But you have to sit through this. I should have edited out, but you will suffer with me. Not that I have to watch this like a lot. If the checkpoints were really bad, if this was like a zero deaths run or a no damage like segmented run for like chapter segments, it would be really miserable. Unless that the chapter restart starts you at the combat. But I don't know. Maybe what I should have done is I should have chapter selected and go with the checkpoint and select the first or I think the first checkpoint, I guess, and start from there. But I really wanted the old school trophy or Steam achievement in my case, which I'm not gonna get anyway because my game, this run is a really glitchy run, by the way. uh, I will have a lot of problems in this run. I will have a lot of glitches. Like chapter 7 has a really interesting glitch, and I will show it. It's on a failed attempt because I had to restart because of that glitch. And it was like it was in chapter 7 at the start of starting from chapter 7. I had really horrible glitches and crashes and really bad stuff like that, actually stuff that ruined this run. And when I get to that chapter I will talk about it because it's really important, because I will take damage from nothing, literally from nothing. It didn't happen to me in on my hardcore run, but it happens here. I literally kill everyone. Nobody shoots me. I still take damage from nowhere. And I think it's a glitch. And I try to restart the checkpoint from chapter select. And it doesn't work. It's glitch. I don't know what it is. Which is weird because the last time I played this was the Somalian version of this game. The pirated version, by the way. And the pirated version was so stable, was really good. I had a really fun time. But this one is the Steam version, the official Steam version, and it's really terrible in terms of just performing, I guess. The game crashes a lot. It crashed a lot. My runs, it glitched the textures. There was in chapter 3, there will be it will be in this video, chapter 3. Well, there will be a part where um, textures will be like glitchy and stuff, by flickering textures, and because I restarted the game because I don't play you know, as you know, I don't do 3 hours and 48 minutes straight just playing this game. I have a life. I take breaks and I go to sleep, and when I came back, the game was fucking. Same for chapter 7. Chapter 7, I couldn't load that chapter. So I lost my old school trophy because I couldn't load chapter 7, so I had to go to chapter select and select the checkpoint, which it sucks. Well, I guess I can do this difficulty again normally, but kinda sucks. But at least I have recorded. But yeah, this part, just these guys will come all at the same time from that door. And if I was a better player and if I had better aiming, I would kill all of them in really fast as they were coming through this door. And I usually do that, but this time I was really unlucky. I really like this part, by the way, because enemies will be lined up, so it will be really easy to kill them, and it will look really cool too. It's gonna be like 1, 2, 3. They are really lined up for me. Well, except for that guy, but like this one, boom, dead, 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 dead. And again, my aiming is not really great, but still, I feel it feels really good when you play it, even if your aim is not the best. Imagine having really good aim. If I had really good aim in this section, that section would look amazing for other people. But since I don't have a good aim, it's just going to look just going to look cool. Nothing special, I guess. hmm And then another unskippable cutscene. I don't really like this about that game. If I ever do another run of this game, like a New York Minute run on hardcore, man, I know, but I think New York Minute skips cutscenes though, but not this ones. New York Minute doesn't skip these middle cutscenes. It will skip the introduction cutscenes for the chapter, but it won't skip this middle cutscenes. So I think I would um, install that mod next time I play this game, or even if I do a casual old school run offline, I will install that mod because I don't really want to watch this as cool as the story in this game is, and the dialogue is quite cool, I guess. I think the story is actually it's cool, but it's the weakest aspect of this game. The story is not really that strong. The dialogue is fine. It has its moments. Oh, and here you just need to take cover and wait until they reload. As soon as they start reloading, you can start shooting them. Don't. It's the only way. If you get out of cover early, they will 100% hit you. But yeah, the story in this game is the only thing that that really, I guess, that makes this game not a 10 out of 10 to me, because this game would be a 10 out of 10 if the story was really great, but it doesn't need this game doesn't need a really great story, and just because of that it should let you skip cutscenes, I think, even though the cutscenes they look great, by the way. This game, it came out in like 2012. This game looks amazing for 2012, and I guess the only good thing about the cutscenes, if you are replaying this game, is the eye candy, because Max looks really cool in some cutscenes, like when he's all dirty and his clothes are all torn out and shit like that. It looks really cool. But the rest of this game is amazing. This game is like, just the gameplay alone makes this game like a 8.5 out of 10, like a 9 out of 10. Just that alone, it's amazing. Unfortunately, it has its problems. That's why I'm more towards a 8.5 out of 10 giving scoring this game, because this game has problems like animation prioritization. Sometimes Max won't will be stuck in animations while you're trying to dodge bullets, and there is ways to get around that. If you There is my hardcore run, I would shoot dodge forward. Always shoot dodge forward, because Max uh, takes less time to get up if you fall on your belly than on your side or on your back. At least that's what I noticed. Or Max will have a easier time getting off the shoot dodge if you fall on your belly than in your side, because sometimes if you fall on your side or on your back, Max will sometimes do some extra animations, because I guess it looks more realistic, which I don't really appreciate. I mean, I appreciate the touch, but it affects the gameplay. And as you could see there, he fell in his belly, and it didn't take a lot of time for him to get up. You have like the momentum and the inertia, so we can get up really quickly than get up from your back or the sides. And be sure to be pressing forward, so that I guess again the momentum forward, it will have the forward momentum, so he can get up faster. And there's stuff like this when you um, when you hit collision, Max will take extra animations to get up. It's the weaker point of the game, that I guess for people that like that kind of details in games, I think that's great for them. And for me, I kinda like it, but when it's for a run like this, it's what makes it really not great. And yeah, this part I'm using a lot of shoot dodging, because this part is there's the checkpoint is back at the helipad, and this is tricky. This is a tricky part. This is one of those parts where enemy placements are really awkward, and they are 100% accurate. So they will have a really good advantage, because there's a lot of obstacles in your way, which for you which makes enemies harder to see. But since enemies are bots, they will see you 100%, no matter how many obstacles. So yeah, that's the only one of the problems of this difficulties, I think. But at least the levels are well designed for it. But chapter 10 has a terrible fight, just because of the bad level design. It really shows that if you design a really bad section with enemies with this good like aimbot, it ruins the game. But this is the end of chapter 2 already, and another cutscene that you can't skip, because the game is loading, supposedly. I don't think so. Hmm. Yeah, this is I really don't like the fact the game doesn't let you skip anything. I wish I could mute my microphone these parts, so I can just, go through the cutscenes without saying anything, because it's a 3 hour video, almost a 4 hour video. Would be nice to recover during the cutscenes, since the cutscenes are going to be something like 10% of this run, or more, even like 30%. I'm really, I really don't like the fact you can't skip it. As you can see, at the bottom of the screen, still loading, and look at that. I'm like spamming the skip button, the enter button. But yeah, this part is really boring too, because you can't do anything, and it's long. I really hate that in games. It's another negative point that I have to give to this game, and it doesn't do it a lot. Actually, it only does it now. These walking moments, I guess you can uh, label them as that, like walking segments, walking sections, whatever. They are really not the greatest in video games, aren't they? I was going to say Max Payne now. Metal Gear Solid 5 has the hospital sequence, which, funny enough, it's probably my favorite level in that game, because it's the most Metal Gear Solid level in the game. It's a walking segment. Basically, it's a fucking walking segment. It's a shame that the most Metal Gear moment, or the most Metal Gear mission in that game is a walking segment. They could have done a little bit more. And there's like Killer is Dead as some really bad ones too. There's a really walking sections in games are just exposition dumps most of the time, and they're really bad. You can't skip them. Well, Metal Gear Solid 5 has a really infamous walking segment and jeep ride with Skullface. It's like 10 minutes, but you can skip that at least. Remember, epic music and you're just on a jeep ride. Next time I will edit this out or not, I don't know. Well, Dead Space 3, if I ever go through with Dead Space 3 no damage run, I will I will think about it. But I tried Dead Space 3 yesterday. I did a practice no damage run with the plasma cutter, and wow, after 5 years of playing that game and now going for it like seriously, just not just for the trophies, but for no damage run in the hardest difficulty. Holy shit, that game is not very uh, good. I'm going to say, I was going to say, I want to say that it's not very good, but I can say it's not very good in an interesting way. It is, that game is very interesting in its decisions, and I think they ruined some aspects of Dead Space 2. They really did. Enemies don't flinch now in Dead Space 3. And the new enemy type is terrible. I fucking hate those enemies. I really don't like them. They are really, really bad. And they are quite frequent. And the best thing about the Dead Space 3 no damage with the plasma cutter only and no upgrades, which I don't think is even possible. From what I've played and from what I've practiced from the like first three chapters, is that Dead Space 3 is fucking hard. Like Dead Space 2, no damage, was hard, but wasn't that hard. It was challenging, but nothing special, okay? Dead Space 3, oh my god, I got wrecked in the first section with the necromorphs, not the prologue. Like with Isaac, the first encounter with Necros with Isaac, oh my god, it was hell. I wasn't expecting that. It was basically my first time playing it, and she just like, oh. And then there's a really hard section with Isaac that you can skip, and all the runs that I've watched after I done my practice run, they always skip that, and I didn't. I actually managed to do it, but it's hard. It's probably the hardest thing I've done in a Dead Space game, like ever. That was only the like third encounter. Jesus, like what the hell, man? It was insane. I wasted a lot of bullets, and it made my plasma cutter run kinda ruined by chapter 3 because I didn't have bullets. So I think the best option is to skip that fight, but I don't really like to skip fights in Dead Space because Dead Space is a really fair game. It's a game that's really well designed, but Dead Space 3 it's not really. I guess there will be a lot of fights that I need to skip in Dead Space 3. It's amazing. Don't really like that. I was really surprised, and the two necromorphs in Dead Space 2, no problem at all, easy peasy, right? In Dead Space 3, two necromorphs will rape you, they will gangbang you, they can't flinch. They ruined the necromorphs. they take two plasma, like plasma rounds or whatever you call it, to the limbs to disarm them, which is one more than Dead Space 2, because Dead Space 2 was just one plasma round. It's like they ruin the game, they ruin the balance. It makes you see that the little things can ruin a really well designed game, and the new enemies they introduced are so bad for that, because they even take more and they can transform, they can even have more life. You can, in Dead Space 2, you would use like at max 3 rounds for a necromorph. 3, doesn't matter which necromorph. Maybe the fat ones you would use four max. And those crawly ones, I don't remember their names. And in this game, it's just like those new enemy types. You can waste probably like 6 bullets, 6 plasma rounds on them. It's insane. But enough about Dead Space 3. If I do a run, if I manage to do it or complete it or whatever, I will talk about it. But man, this chapter is probably the first difficulty spike for a lot of people. I remember playing this game the first time on hard difficulty, and this was probably the first difficulty spike compared to the previous 2 chapters. There will be difficult sections that I need to talk about, and it will be the next section. It's coming. It's kind of tricky. I remember on hardcore I had a really really difficult time. It probably took me an hour to get past that small section. Oh, it's not. Oh, okay, it's not this one. But this one is tricky. It was tricky for me on hardcore, but in this difficulty, I did it in probably 3 attempts, maybe. Yeah, 3 attempts. And this part is tricky because enemies will be above you and will be on the same level as you. And the enemies above will be the hardest ones because you don't really know where they are, and it's kind of RNG where they will be. So I will do the same thing as I did in hardcore and use my shoot dodging for my advantage to see where the enemies will be. And sometimes they don't appear, and if they don't do that, if this was hardcore, I would probably be down, because as soon as the enemy would appear on screen, he would have 100% shoot me with 100% accuracy. And you have this one, and I think it's after this encounter that that it will be the really hard one, the tricky one. They will be searching. If you deviate and go search for bullets and stuff like that, which you will need, because the next sections is the section where every run that I do of this game, casual or not, I always get out of ammo. And these guys will, if you deviate, this guy will will tank, like not tank, rush you. So be careful. It's kind of unexpected the first time if you're not expecting it. And it's going to be this. Yeah, this part. This part is quite tricky. Not this first part. First part is easy, and the bosses will be helping you. It's the next part, and you'll see the transition from. Oh no, you won't, because I'm better at editing this than before. Yeah, this part is really hard, but I really like doing this because like it's kind of, I don't know why. It's just like going through these stairs and just shooting the enemies randomly, even if I don't um, do anything. Because I think I believe in this game. I don't know if it's a thing, but I believe in putting pressure on the enemy on this game makes their aiming a little bit harder. Because on hardcore I did the same thing. If you watch my hardcore run, and it seemed they didn't really weren't really accurate when I was shooting them. I don't know if it's because I was putting pressure, or the pressure, I guess you can say, mechanic works, or it's just something. It's just like psychological, I guess. But I love those stair things. I love doing the stairs. And I'm glad that this is a good checkpoint. You will start right at the gate, and man, it's really cool. It's a short but hard sequence, and it's really sweet, and it's an interesting one. Another thing really interesting about this game is that I will assume that some of this game sections are based in real life locations, like this stadium. I will assume there's a real stadium in Brazil. So it's kind of interesting because this, if this is a real life location, it's not really designed for gunfights, and it will show in some moments that some sections are not really designed for gunfights because the covers are awkward, the enemy placements are kind of awkward, awkward, and for example, the chapter 14? No, 14. I think there's only 14 chapters. Chapter 14, the last chapter of this game, the airport. The really cool section with the cool music in the airport is really awkward in terms of enemy placements because that airport wasn't designed for a gunfight. And some parts in this game are just like that because they weren't really designed for gunfights. And there will be a part in this game that that will be the case. And maybe you could have seen that, like in that part, in the tricky part that we just passed, like that one with the enemies above, with with the enemies above, yeah. Like those parts that part was real trick because it wasn't really designed for a gunfight because enemies are in a really weird position, like above, and you barely have cover in the first floor, so it's kind of weird. I don't know if they modified a little bit for the gunfights to be a little bit easier, but yeah, it's a really weird. Though I don't really know if this is based in a real life location, if it's actually like this. But I watched a Rockstar making off of this game. I think it was a YouTuber that talked about it, and this game really they really did a hard they really had a hard work on in the reference department and making this game as real as possible. This is another part I think it wasn't really designed for gunfights because this is a really awkward uh, place. Like enemies have the advantage here. They totally have the advantage here. I don't really like this part. Was really the shit part for me. I don't like them because of the level design. And yeah, you can see the fucky graphics, the flickering track textures. This was when I reloaded the game when I came back to it. Yeah, this is the first moment when you see that the game is going to be glitchy, and worst will happen. The worst is I don't mind the flickering, even though I kind of mind, but I don't really mind it as much as the crashes. The crashes were the worst because the game wouldn't start on the checkpoint where I stopped. So I had to checkpoint select, and that made my old school trophy basically null. But yeah, but if the textures stop flickering, that's because I reloaded the game again. Because it's kinda annoying. Yeah. I think it's better now. I think I reloaded the game at this point. If not, that's maybe it was maybe just that section. But it never happened to me. My hardcore run was recorded on the pirated version of the game, and I never had problems with it. And I recorded it. It could be a recording problem since my graphics card, I guess it's doing a lot of heavy weight. It's running the game and it's recording. I guess that kind of makes it that the game gets a little bit unstable. And since I record with quite high bitrate, which on YouTube you won't really notice because YouTube fucks the quality, I guess that the game, it kind of made the game a little bit unstable. But I thought and I used shadow play on when I played the Max Payne, when I played the hardcore. Here I'm using OBS, but I don't know, man. It's weird. Yeah. So it's 40 minutes and I'm getting tired. But I'm liking doing this. Just just it's the morning and stuff like that. I just need to relax a little bit. And one thing I want to say is that this was supposed to be uploaded before Resident Evil 6 run, but I had the great idea to combine every chapter that I had edited down and make them and just combine them, making a really big video and comment it, which I don't think it's a great idea for my second commentary project, but I really want to try it to make it longer so I don't need to upload a lot. And I really use my internet a lot to upload these videos, and I just want to upload like one big video and that's it, and then can concentrate on my other runs. And I don't know, the thing is, because this is already compressed, because I just for this video is literally me combining the videos that I already edited it, and this is another video editor, so it was already compressed, and this is going to be even more compressed, unfortunately, and YouTube it won't really help about it and will compress it even more. So this Max Payne run will probably not look as good as the Resident Evil 6 because it was just fresh. It will, and my new editing software that I have is really good, better than my old one. My old one, I rage quitted my old one. Seriously, it was really garbage, really slow. I hated it, crashed all the time. This new one is perfect. I like it, and you can control the quality that you want to render the videos. If you want to render the video with the 75% quality, which is what I use for my Resident Evil 6, and they look better than the last ones, though I don't think on YouTube it will be noticeable, but I can control how much compressed the videos will be. And of course I'm not going to do ridiculous stuff like 80% or 90% is ridiculous for a video. I think it's a big file and my computer dies in the rendering, so I found that 75% is the best one. And maybe for this one, since this video is already rendered, I will make probably 5%, but can't promise anything. It probably look like shit anyway. But yeah, and this is basically the end of chapter 3. I like this part because they are really in a good place to just shoot them like boom boom dead. And the part coming up, my aiming will be so on point. Not in this one because my aiming is shit in this one, just like always. But when I go up those stairs, and since this is a really long checkpoint and I really want to get over this chapter, as fun as this chapter is, I was a little bit tired. I was like boom boom dead. My aiming here was really good. More my reflexes, like here to boom. Okay, maybe it's not that great, but for the last guy it was decent. Okay, maybe watching this back, it wasn't that great. Yeah, it was bad. Okay, but at the time, because at the last guy, I was like, "Choo," that it felt really good. But now watching it's like, okay, it's garbage. Okay, okay, fine, it's garbage. It's nothing special. And the end. This is the end of chapter 3, which reminds me, talking about aiming, it reminds me of a speedrun of impossible mode in Dead Space 3, because I watched some runs. Like, I watched the first 3 chapters that I done, see what people were doing, and there was this guy that supposedly was a no damage speedrun, and he had a godly aim. Like, his aim was so godly that I thought that he was using like a aimbot thing, or like he was cheating. But I don't think he was cheating. His aim was legit. I think it was legit, because if you watch aimbotting, you will know that his aimbotting. His aim was legit, even though it was unhumanly fast. He's not human. That's not a human being anymore. That's like subhuman. It's like fucking god aim. It's amazing, but it's not aimbot. I can be sure of that, because aimbot is like, it's unnatural. It's not real natural. But his looks like aimbot, but it's natural. So I don't know. It could be aimbot. Not sure. I don't think it is. Yeah, this part I will get all of them, and I'm proud of that. Two, two, two. Oh, two. Even with my bad aiming, I still managed to get all of them and make this section really cool. This is probably one of my favorite chapters. There's some really cool sections in this chapter, like the rooftop sections. The rooftop sections, I really like them. The enemies are really perfectly aligned. This part, I dislike it more, because there's a lot of obstacles in your way. In your way, there's cars and stuff like that. Enemies, I can't really see the enemies, and again, enemies can see you. They can see you like 100 times better than you can see them. So, but it's short, and this was my first try too. So I think it was, at least. And this is the part that I really like the for like this part Fords is literally the best fucking part of the chapter. And don't forget to pick up the second pistol over there. You can I and my first tries of this game, when I was playing casually, I didn't even knew there was a pistol over there, which was kind of annoying. I think oh no, I didn't. So don't really need shoot dodge for this. You just need to run. Hopefully you won't get damaged, which it looks really cool. It won't make a difference if you kill them or not. The enemies will be always on the rooftop, and it won't be the same guys, don't worry. I think, even though that guy has the same coat, it's not the same. So yeah, stand there, don't go immediately to the stairs, there's a chance you'll get hit. There's a door. This is my favorite part, because they're together. They're just asking to die, all of them to die at the same time. I really like it. And then boom. I really like this game, like the gameplay in this game. Even as a bad player as me, you can watch this and still have fun watching it. I really love watching back my Max Payne 3 hardcore, because the gameplay is so fun to watch. It's just like, put the thing dead, boom, dead. Put the thing in the head, boom, dead. Dodge and bullet time, and the dodge and the bullet time make it even better. So it's really, oh man, I really like this game. This game is amazing, dude. It's really fun to watch. At least for me. Like Dead Space 2, Max Payne 3 is one of those runs that I think I rewatched it my entire hardcore run like 3 times because it's so fun. And I watch my videos like at least one time on YouTube to make sure that everything is alright before I delete the main file. So, but Max Payne 3 is those videos that I really like to watch back. They're so fun. Another thing that I don't like about this game is that you can get shot in the cutscenes and you can get hit, and of course that won't count as damage because you can't really control it. You're in a goddamn cutscene. There's no way to control it, and in chapter 6 that's going to be really bad because in chapter 6 there'll be a section where you are in a cutscene and enemies already shooting you, and there's a chance that enemies will hit you. It won't register as damage, but it's so annoying to see them hitting you, and it's like, I don't think that I don't think that I got that in my successful attempt. Damn, I failed really hard that one. Just kill. There's going to be a guy over here. Like, boom! I really love this. It's so good. I don't know. I wonder if these New York parts are based in real life locations. I wonder if the Nova Esperança favela is a real life location. I have to Google it. I have to ask a friend. I have a friend who lives in Brazil. I will ask him. He will know because if you live in Brazil, you just know. Even though I barely know anything about my own country sometimes. But I think some parts are real because I've seen it in television. Like in chapter 10 you will go to the how is it called, the I don't remember how it's called, so I'm not going. Oh, did you see that? Did you see that? I took damage because I was in a cutscene. Took two hits. It didn't register. Ah, it's so bad. Look, there's even the blood. Because Max had this shoulder out. So annoying. How? But I'm trying to remember how it's called, the chapter 10 thing. I don't remember at all. We'll see when we get there, I guess. More locations. I guess São Paulo is a real life location. Obviously, fucking São Paulo, duh. But other locations, I don't think there's other real locations. Maybe the football stadium or soccer stadium. Even though I think we call it here, it's football. But okay. Oh man, I don't remember how it's called. This part is kind of tricky because these two enemies they can get the first shot on you. Maybe on hardcore would be on hardcore this would be really really weird and hard. And oh, excuse me. This is the end of chapter 4. And then chapter 5 has the second difficulty spike, and this is a really big one. My casual runs on hard difficulty. My first time playing this game, this chapter was a real difficulty spike in some sections, and I had a better time in old. Again, I had a better time in old school with this chapter. I remember. I remember on hardcore. I stayed on this chapter for like 4 hours or something like that. Something ridiculous like that. And on old school, the worst section, it took me like what, 30 minutes to get by. On hardcore was like, it took me like 2 hours. It was insane. And I don't think it's because I knew how to play better, because this part is it's just or you aim good and kind of know where they're coming from, or you're just screwed. And my aiming is not really good. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, this is the cut, another unskippable cutscene. Another thing this game does great, and it's another point to the score. It's the soundtrack. This game has an amazing soundtrack. I love everything about this game's soundtrack. I This is one of those soundtracks that I listen to it almost every month. And the first time I heard this was one of those soundtracks that almost every day I was listening to its tracks. Now it's just once in a while I still listen to it, especially a few tracks that I really liked. But this game has an amazing soundtrack. Health, the band that did the entire soundtrack for this game, they did an excellent job. And Health, I really like Health. They're a really good band. I listened to a few of them of their albums. Sorry, like oh man, I don't remember the name of the albums. I never do. But it's the album with the glitter pills and oh man, I wish I could remember the name of the albums. It's been a while that I don't listen to him, but it's the album with the blue cover. I'm talking like a scrub right now. I'm talking about albums that I don't remember the name. Like, oh, it's the one with the blue cover. Oh man, it's the one with the blue cover and the one with the white cover with the green triangle. I don't. Oh man, I wish that I was better than this. I could I could see it right now. It'd be unprofessional and see it right now. Let me see. I'm going to see. There's it's the album with the stone. What is it called? Stone Fist something. Sorry, unprofessional time. So I'm ignoring gameplay right now. I'm just talking. Huh. Right, the album is called Elf. Literally Elf. Okay, and there's the glitter pills, the perfect skin. Yeah, that's I really love that perfect skin. Stone. This is not from this album. There's the Death Magic album. Yeah, that I really love that album too. I listened to it. There's the song called Dark Enough, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, the Stonefist is from that album, the Death Magic album. So there's the Dark Enough and there's the Stonefist. Those are my favorite songs. And there's where's the white with the triangle? With the triangles? It's called Disco. Is it called Disco? It's Disco too. Unprofessional time. Don't worry, these parts of the fights are not... Oh no, actually this section is... If you don't know the enemy placements in this section, it's really... It can be really tricky, but I didn't have troubles, even on hardcore, after I knew all their spawns, which are 100% consistent in this part. You won't have a hard time on this. This is actually really easy. What the hell? Okay, just received the message on Discord. Kind of weird. Unprofessional time again. I'm unprofessional, I don't care. But yeah, it's a it's really easy. If you want to know, the next section is easy too. I'm just going to search for that album. Excuse me while I do some noise, horrible noise probably. What is it called? It's where the Golf Star song is. I don't know. It's not the triangle. It's the white cover is the blue things. I guess it's the one with the Golf Star song. I really like it. Yeah, sorry if I'm I'm literally talking like a scrub about albums, but I'm not really good at remembering these names, album album names. The songs, yeah, maybe because I listen to them so much that I kind of remember, but it's kind of tricky too. Oh, I took damage. Did you see that? I took damage in the fucking cutscene. Yeah. Be sure that you aim here because that guy will rush you and he will hit you every time. Sorry about that. Damage will be up here, and the tricky part is going to come. It's going to be the next one, I think. No, it's not the next one. I'm mistaking it from the next part, but the difficulty spike will happen in a bit in the next like 2 sections or after the next section. And speaking of health and their albums, I really love their sound style. It's so weird. I really love those weird songs. It's like, oh man, I can't explain it. My English is not my best language. I can't even explain it in my fucking own language. Imagine in English, it's so, oh man, it's so surreal, I guess, the sound. And each album is quite different. It's a different style. They still sound very experimental and weird. And I guess Max Payne album that they did is it's a completely different style from what they usually do. And that's why there's a lot of people that they prefer this the album Max Payne's 3 album than their usual songs. And I don't blame them. And this is the hard section. This is the section where whew, I got this is on hardcore. I got stuck in here like a lot, but right now I'm having an easier time. Maybe it's because I'm being more of a bitch because I'm using a cover trick. I mean, not really the cover trick, but I'm like going into cover, going out of cover, and Max's animations are so heavy that it's kind of hard to pull it off. And I'm using the shoot dodge as soon not the shoot dodge, the bullet time as soon as I have a little bit on it, and then I'm just going into cover and going out of cover, just like that. I could have done the cover trick, but I don't want to go to that point because this game is really good to exploit it like that. Then I will. You see, it's kind of it's really risky to do this, and then on hardcore I would have been dead because enemies will as soon as enemies would probably shoot me through that little crate, like that little hole. Boom, dead. That was the last one. Oof, that seems simple, but it's not. Look how many people, damn. And then the next part is even harder in some aspects because enemies will be in really great distance, and it's really again, like I said many times before, hard to shoot them. You have a really hard time to shoot them, and they don't. They just wreck you. So this is where, to me, the difficulty spike on the no damage run really was. It was right here. There will be a boat too, so I won't engage with the boat in this part. I think I will just take cover and let them pass. Yeah, he's right there. I wonder if you killed the guy with the flare before he shoots the flare. If you, him leaning to see if that. Oh my god, that's so close. But I think the bullets don't. Yeah, the range in the bullets didn't get me. If I was a little bit closer, I would have been dead. So yeah, look how difficult. Look, Max just punched the fucking the basket. But look how difficult the enemy positions are. They have a lot of cover, and yeah, we have a lot of cover too, but the enemies have a really they have a lot of cover and they are in a really difficult spots to shoot, and it's really unfair because they have a really good accuracy. But thankfully, some of them will rush you. Here I am trying to see if there's more. And thankfully the checkpoints are not that bad in these sections. The checkpoints are pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, I think the checkpoints in old school difficulty are the same as hardcore, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I had the harder time on hardcore because some checkpoints were different, but I don't think so. I think it's the same checkpoints. And this checkpoint is really great. And once you know where every enemy is going to come, which is again in this part it's really consistent. You can kill them before they even react to you. So that's how you deal with those. Like you shoot the gas tank in a particular timing, and they will both die. And these guys will rush you. So use this cover to your advantage. And there will be, I think, it's 4 guys, so be careful. There's one over there is going to rush. There's another one. I don't know where he is. Can't really see on the preview window. It's kind of small. Yeah, it's over there. I kind of cheesed with the... Oh, there's more. Eesh, Jesus. Yeah, there was another one. That part is kind of tricky, especially if you rush them. And there's the boat section. Make sure to shoot the gunners so that you don't get shot. If you don't shoot the gunners here, you will take damage 100%. There's no cover. I don't think you can shoot dodge them. If you do a back shoot dodge, I don't think you will cover enough distance for them to not get range on you. And this is basically the end of the chapter in terms of no damage, because this section you can't, it's mandatory damage basically. You cannot not take damage here. It's impossible. And I'm not going to say that it's annoying sections. They are fun, I guess. They're short. This one is quite long though, but they usually are short in this game. They are sweet, I guess. You could say that. But another cutscene that you can skip. What I like about this game is that in the middle of the game the levels will be longer, and the cutscenes you can skip cutscenes more frequently than in the beginning. So it will feel that the pacing of the levels will feel really good than compared to chapter 2, 1, 2, and 3, because there's nothing. I like the first 3 chapters in this game, but there's the pacing. The chapter's pacing is really bad because of the unskippable cutscenes. And look, I took damage in the cutscene too, and it's not really possible. And as I was saying, the pacing in these levels, especially the later levels, like chapter 13, it's probably my favorite chapter, and the hardest chapter too in the game. The pacing is phenomenal because you can skip every cutscene. I mean, not every cutscene, but probably 90% of the cutscenes. And the pacing is amazing. It's like fight after fight after fight after fight. And I really love this game when it's like fight after fight after fight. I just wish there was a mode where there just wouldn't have cutscenes, just the game. I would probably do that instead of the main campaign. I would do that, no damage and this, but unfortunately there's the time attack, and the time attack there's still the cutscenes in the middle, even though they skipped the cutscenes introduction cutscenes. So yeah, it's I don't really. This part's gonna be hard in the New York minute because I never managed to get to the final part without dying in this section. I think I attempted New York minute before casually, and I was lost in this part because I couldn't get my boat. But I guess I'm not using the bullet time. I'm literally not using bullet time. That's the problem. I'm using now. Well, my boat got fixed. Yeah, it fixed it. It's like a check. That's nice. That's pretty good. Passos will fix the boat. The boat, the health, shit, okay. So, that's pretty good design, I think. If only I would use the shoot dodge here, I wouldn't lose any health. This is a really waste of shoot dodge. That part just took a chunk of my boat's health. Mm. Let me just check something for a minute. I need to sorry about that again. Not really professional. But this is a 4-hour video. Let me breathe. Yeah, look how near I am to dying. It's going to be pretty tricky to do this on New York minute. Imagine doing a no bullet time, no damage run this game. How not fun would that be, that run? Because this game, if you take out the bullet time, it would still feel good, would still be a fun shooter. But if you take out the bullet time and the shoot dodge, man, this game, it's not. It would probably turn into a really not fun game. I think I don't know if anyone did that, and I've seen people playing this game really in a really interesting way, if I say it like that, where they use the cover, they play it like a normal shooter. I don't really agree with that, and I don't want to name. I don't want to name anyone, but I watched the no damage run for this game, a recent one, and I don't approve. I don't approve. I'm sorry. I don't approve. The first chapter, he did it with. He used the cover, and he played it like a normal, like third-person shooter. Really, it was really slow. He used the blind fire. It's so. I don't really want to diss this guy because you can play it whatever style you want to play, but really, you want to play this game like that? It's like no risks. Like you use the cover trick and stuff like that. It's like playing like I'm sorry to say this, but it's like playing like a bitch. I don't. I didn't really like it. Then I watched this chapter 2 run. It was, I guess you can say it was a little bit better. Okay, I'll give him that. More risks, less cover. But still, it cheesed some parts. It really did cheese some parts. And in his description, he says the best Max Payne 3 walkthrough. I hope he's being ironic though, because I'm sorry, I don't want to sound mean or anything, but playing like that, I don't think it's the best walkthrough. I've seen better. Alright, I'm not going to say it's bad, but I've seen better. Seraphim 17 is, I think it's pretty good. In Love, No Damage Run is pretty good too. And mine is nothing special. I mean, I kinda cheesed on the hardcore difficulty with the shoot dodging, and on this one I'm kinda redeeming myself, but it's not nothing special. It's just playing the game as it is intended to be played. So I don't think you should call your walkthrough you the best walkthrough. And the worst thing about his videos is that it would stop to see the environments. Like, man, come on. This ain't no damage run. You just don't be looking at the backgrounds. Come on, dude. It's really. I'm not gonna. I'm not going to say anything about it anymore. It is what it is. You can play it whatever you want. But yeah, this is another. Chapter 6 has such a long cutscene. This is probably the longest cutscene. Or is it really bad paced that it feels really long? But it's so long. Are they? I don't have sound when I'm watching my videos for the commentary, because the microphone will pick it up. My microphone picks everything up. If you will notice that in my Resident Evil 6 and in this, basically. I don't know if they're speaking Portuguese or English, because my subtitles are in English. Yeah, are they? No, they are all in Portuguese, so I don't know when they because they sometimes speak English and they sometimes speak in Portuguese. Macarona. I love that word. And this word, I love pés de chinelo. Amadores pés de chinelo. The fucking Brazil, like Portuguese, like Brazilian Portuguese is so weird. They have words that they describe things in such a way. They use such interesting words to describe stuff. And in here, our Portuguese is like sad. In Brazil, everyone is happy, even though everyone is like living in misery. And we here in Europe, we live in a good country. I mean, not good, but we don't live in favelas. We are still like sad bastards, unfortunately. It's just it's in our blood, I guess. Our history is so sad too. Our poets are sad. Everyone's sad. No, every writer, every poet, every big figure, big historical figure that we respect and we look up to. It's just a sad bastard that wrote sad poems and just hated life, and they would write how much they hated life. That's all it was. And in school they teach us how this has a deeper meaning about society and about how our country can be better again and stuff like that, and how the mighty have fallen. But it's just now they just think life is shit and they want to kill themselves. It's nothing special, but they're pretty good. I like the writing and the poems from our big boys. One thing I really like about Brazil's culture is the music. They always sound so happy. And this game has a really good examples. It's probably the only time that the music is not directed from health. The favela part sections in this game has Brazilian music in it, and they're really I shouldn't say they are fun, because some of them of explicit lyrics, but they are so they are so fun to listen to, even if the lyrics are so explicit and so, I guess, dirty, if you can say that. They- you just you can't help but just vibing to it, you know. And I know a lot of people that do that that don't understand Portuguese. A lot of people on the Brazilian music in the comment sections for this game, they're like, I don't understand what they're saying, but this is really fire in a song that is talking about like sex and shit like that. Vibing for that. Can you imagine that? Vibing for something like that and you just don't understand what it is. And if you understood what it was, you'd just be, oh. But there's a really cool one that is kind of serious, which is called the Sorriso Favela. And that song is really good. I really like that song. Unironically, the Brazilian songs from this game, I kind of listen to them, I vibe to them like ironically, but the Sorriso Favela, I vibe to it unironically. It's really good and it's has a really cool message too. It's the best song in the game, one of the best songs because I think the main tracks from the games are better than the Brazilian ones. And there's the ones from the Brazilian radio that you can listen in the favela sections. They are pretty good too. I'm not a fan of rap, of especially Brazilian rap, but I quite like it. And this is the part where you can take damage. Well, not damage. You they can shoot you during a cutscene. This is the hard part from this chapter. This is the only hard part about this chapter because enemies again they will be in really weird spots, and the level design, even though it looks very cool and the papers and everything like that flying because of the bullets and stuff like that, and it looks really cool when it's in slow motion. But as in gameplay, it's I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's creative, I guess, but it can be a little bit annoying to know where they are. But I guess it's kind of fair for both the enemies and the player because you have cover, they have cover, even though they can shoot you through they can wallbang you through the cover. So I don't know what to say about that, but it's hard and it's not hard like bullshit hard. It's just hard. The bullshit hard is for chapter 10. And oh boy, when we get to chapter 10, that chapter, it's one of my, I want to say it's one of my favorite chapters, but only aesthetically, because I love the location. But in terms of encounter designs, there's some good ones, but there's two really bad ones that just, it's a stain in that chapter, those encounters, unfortunately. It's one where in both hardcore and old school I got stuck for like 2 hours max or even more. Who knows? There's another section where you can take damage in cutscene, but these slow-mo sections, it's obvious you can take damage. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot of this and you can take, and they look cool. I like them. Look at that. They don't always look this cool, but this one looks cool. The one in chapter 7 looks cool too. And chapter 11? No, 10. Wait, which chapter is it? I think I'm talking bullshit. It's not chapter 10. That's the bad chapter. I'm sorry. No, it's chapter 11. Chapter 11 is the bad chapter. I'm really sorry. Chapter 10 is amazing. It's one of my favorite chapters, and I was talking trash about it. Ooh, that's really bad in my part. It's not chapter 10. For some reason, I mistake chapter 10 for chapter. No, wait, is it chapter? No, it's not chapter 11 too. Oh my god, I'm ruining my favorite chapters. It's chapter 12. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It's chapter 12. Yeah, chapter 12 is the bad one. Oh man, I said chapter. 10 and then 11. Oh man, that's bad. It's not chapter 10. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. Chapter 10 and chapter 11, they are great, even though chapter 11 has a particular section that I'm not a fan, but it's not bad. Chapter 11 is actually really good. But chapter 10, it's amazing. I love that chapter. And there was trashing it for no reason, but it's chapter 12. Damn, chapter 12, dude. I just trashed my favorite chapter. I'm really sorry. I hope people don't get angry because I trashed a really good chapter and they thought I was talking about that. There's nothing really wrong with chapter 10. Now that I remember, maybe the section where you can't really move and you just have the cover and you only thing you can do is literally shoot and you can take damage and it will count. But it's really short. It's a really short section, so I, I don't really count. And every time I do these runs, I forget about that section because it's the weakest. It's the most weakest section from the game. And it's so short, and I just wipe it out of my memory every time I play this game. I remember. I only remember it when I'm on the bus and I'm like, oh yeah, after this I have to do that thing. But yeah, I just trashed chapter 10 and I don't really want to do that because that chapter is amazing. Not as amazing as chapter 13, the police station chapter. Now that one is amazing. And it's really hard. It's as hard as chapter 12, but not in a bullshit way. But yeah, another cutscene you can skip in the middle of the chapter, which I really don't like. Don't really. I know that they want you to watch their hard work in the cutscenes because this game had really it was really hard work, and this game entered in development hell, which okay, it's not really something surprising coming out of Rockstar. Every game that Rockstar does, it's development hell. I mean, GTA 5, I don't know if it had development hell, but Red Dead Redemption 2 had the development hell, and you can see, I mean, their games are visually and amazing. They are probably the best visual in terms of visual quality and in general quality. Their games are amazing. There are no games as good as Rockstar's game. There's no there's n- there's no game where devs come together and work so much in one project to make it really to make it like pure quality. That's Rockstar games. But in another hand, the gameplay suffers a lot, and that's the weakest part in Rockstar. And unfortunately, if it wasn't for these already made, mechanics like Max Payne 3, if it wasn't them like buying this game or buying this property, I guess they bought this property from Remedy, they wouldn't really do something like this, in my opinion. I mean, they did Manhunt, and Manhunt. I never played Manhunt, but Manhunt, people say it's really good in terms of gameplay and story. But I get those were different times. PS2 times there was a limit in technology, so you could do your best with the gameplay and not really focus on the quality in the other aspects. But now that we have the technology, Rockstar prefers to really get into that technological side and just stretch the limits, see, just test the limits of the current hardwares and make amazing stuff with it. I just wish that Red Dead Redemption 2 was a little bit better in gameplay, but we can't have everything, I guess. And for the people that like games like that, Good for them. They have an amazing game. They have like a 10 out of 10 game. But for me, I liked it. I played it like once. It was chill, was a chill game, and here I am doing whatever. But it's a chill game. I played it for stress relief, basically, to get, I did a few no damage runs and was a little bit tired. And like games like Red Dead Redemption's like that fix for a chill game that you can do casually and it's not stressful. It's like it's chill. Even though I love doing no damage runs and that's basically why I play games. But once in a while, it's good to play a game like Red Dead Redemption 2. And it was very good. My experience was very good. I liked the story. I liked even if the gameplay is not really that good and it's limited, I still liked what the game offered. And by the way, this is the part where I didn't put the introductory cutscene here. That's because this is the part where the game started crashing, it started glitching out, so I had to restart checkpoints through chapter select, and for some reason I'm stuck in the menu. I didn't edit this out, but well, it is what it is. We have to wait, suffer with me. But going back to Red Dead Redemption 2, the first playthrough of that game was pretty solid. It was amazing, an amazing experience. Minus a few things because I still, even though those are the kind of games that I like to turn off my brain and just enjoy them. There's still things in them that makes me question their game design logic, but it's small things, I guess. What the hell was that? And it's really good. GTA 5 was a little bit better than that, and I actually 100% GTA 5 like 4 times. So in each version, like PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3. Oh, it was just oh no, and then another time on PlayStation 3 because my account got hacked, so I had to do it again. But Red Dead Redemption 2, right now, I don't really like to 100% those type of games, and Red Dead Redemption 2 is a big game. And this is the song, by the way. This is probably the song that is playing, the Sorriso Favela, that I really like. And again, I can't really put the volume really that high to hear it, but it's in here that I really like that song. And I really like this section. This is only cutscene sections that you can see that I really like. It's so good. This is the part where in the Rockstar's making of this game, where they put a lot of effort in this part. They really did put a lot of effort. They recorded people's lives. They took a lot of references. They really did a good job, and you can see how good they worked on this because it shows in the game. It really does. And it must be really cool for a person that doesn't understand Portuguese to get through this section because you're basically immersed because you don't understand what they're saying. You're lost. You're just like Max. You're just like a lost old middle-aged bald man that is hated by these people. And it must be really cool. To me, this section is just funny because Max doesn't understand what they say. It's kind of funny. It's like Max tries to speak, and it's funny because because the way this pronunciation is, it's fun. It's really funny, and that's ironic because the people who are watching this commentary might think the same about me, my pronunciation, my accent. It's funny or it's trash, and you're probably watching the no commentary version. I really love this part. This is the part that I love. They're like, "Que tá fazendo aí, ô rapaz?" Or something like that. Fala inglês, estou perdido. I love this part. Onde estou? Remember, it says estou. Eilish. It says tá no lugar errado, rapá. I love this game. I love this part. It must be really cool for the people that don't really understand. It must be like intense because you can feel that. You can feel from the acting and the all that stuff that it's pretty intense, the situation, and it's kind of awkward. You can see Max just standing there, moving his hands. I really like when it does that. It's like, oh, this is awkward. It's good. It's really good. I love it. And there's this part. And on my hardcore run, there's another thing that people didn't like. It's me basically cutting a lot of editing a lot of the segments, because in my Dead Space 1 and Max Payne 3 runs, I only did the fights. I edited everything out, just the fights, because that's what it matters in a no damage run, I would assume. And to me, that's what I would think, but I don't know. I just probably it's better to for the person who wants to maybe enjoy the gameplay. I guess I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but probably they wanted to see the picking up stuff, the exploring stuff. So with my Dead Space 2 and Max Payne 3 and my projects in my future project, I will only edit, the necessary stuff from the damage run and just leave, unskippable stuff on. I guess it adds to the. I guess it adds to it. I guess because I had to do it, you have to watch me do it. Everything I did, I guess. And this this is this is the another part in the game that I really like. This is chapter solid. This is a really solid chapter. Mine, except for one section, but I think that I think it's just that section. This chapter is really, except that this chapter is really solid, amazing chapter. Really cool encounters, really nice environments, really a really long chapter, but well paced, always in the action, no interruptions. You had like the chapter starts slowly, and then it just goes on non-stop, and I think it really compensates. And the start of this chapter is like the peak of this game's storytelling, I guess. So I don't mind. This is probably one of my favorite chapters. And I think this is where the game starts like really to get like really good. And we are like 1 hour and 37 minutes into it. We still have like 2 hours. Yeah, we still have like 2 hours. And the game is going to kick, like it's going to kick right now. I really love it. This is what I love about this game. But here I am picking up bullets and the music. I love the music in here. This is the music that is so bad. This music is bad. This music is trash. But it's so catchy and and the lyrics are so bad. They're so funny. It's like, oh my god, song. I'm not going to sing it because it's really dirty, but I like singing it ironically to my friends when we make fun of stuff like that. I'm not going to say because I'm going to sound really, I'm going to sound, I don't want to sound mean to Brazil culture. I love, I kind of love Brazil culture. Brazil is cool. It's a cool place, right? If you go to the right places, I think if you probably, this is the part, this is the part. Look at this, look at this. Oh my god, this is amazing. Look at this. Max Payne 3 is an optimized game. Look at this, dude. This is amazing. Look at this. The game was really glitchy in this part. It really shows. Look at this. Ah, man. Max Payne 3, man. How I love you. Yeah, yeah. For the people with the no commentary. Like, yeah. Yeah, but I fixed it. I had to. It didn't fix restarting the checkpoint, but it fixed when I checkpoint selected from the menu. Which kind of sucks. But this part is kind of cool. I like this part a lot. On hardcore, it took me a lot to do this because I didn't know enemy placements. But once you know where they are going to be, it's fine. And this was muscle memory at this point. I knew where they were going to appear because I spent a lot of time on this section on hardcore. So it's muscle memory. My aiming is really bad. I'm really frustrated because my aiming is so bad, but I can't really do anything about that. It's just who I am. Even though I play a lot of games, I practice a lot, but I don't. It's not that it's the full potential. It's my full potential. Of course, I can get better if I want to, but I don't really want to get better. You know, I'm not that type of a gamer that wants to be hardcore, like really really hardcore, like really serious. I do this for fun, you know. I do this for the enjoyment, for the challenge too, but it's not like a ridiculous challenge like Ninja Gaiden Black Master Ninja or Ninja Gaiden missions, Ninja Gaiden Black missions, you know, or world records or insane segmented runs. Even though I'm doing it for Devil Within. But Devil Within is my favorite game, and that game is so well designed that it deserves a zero deaths run in the Akumo difficulty. This is the other coolest slow-mo part. I really like this one. It's like you're dodging the bullets, like choo. It's like Matrix, so cool. Oh, it's so good. Oh man. I love, and after this really cool part, there will be the really not cool part. Probably the part that sucks the most in this chapter. Because the enemies are again in really bad places and you barely have cover. So I wonder if this is based in a real location. Which I don't think it is. I mean, would they really go really into the favelas and literally copy paste them into the game? I mean, it looks really detailed, and that's one thing. Like the favela in this game looks really detailed because they really went full on and literally make it frame by frame, like perfect, like detail, all the details, everything that it was in their research when they went to the favela in Brazil. They really used it, so there's so much detail in here that I don't know. And I don't know if they would just be that committed to go into a favela and record everything, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe they did. Maybe that's why the development hell happened. Which it sucks because this it came out a good, perfect game, almost perfect game from that development hell. But it sucks that so many people got, a lot of nights lost, and hopefully nobody died from overwork because that stuff is common. People dying from overwork, it's really common, and most companies try to hide it as best as they can. Like a Rockstar hides it, try to hide it as best as they can about the overwork. Not the overwork, about basically overwork and extra hours and sleepless nights in their game's development. If they try that hard to hide that, imagine if people die. Probably you won't even know that would happen, but hopefully nobody died from overwork working on this game and on Red Dead Redemption 2. Hopefully, like, people would know their limits. Even if they got fired, that would be really bad, really sad being fired because you would be so overworked. But it would be better than dying. Hopefully none of that happen. It would suck for such a good game like this. I'm glad that it came out like such a good game like this. But I still think this game didn't get the reception that it deserved. I think. I remember the reviews were really positive for this game at the time, but I think for the amount of work that they put into this game, it didn't really, for Rockstar standards, it didn't really do well. That's why they won't do a Max Payne 4. And I don't think I want a Max Payne 4, to be honest. This one is already good as it is. I think it was a good stopping point for Max Payne, even though people don't really like the story on this one. They think it ruined Max's character. And since I don't really care about the story in Max Payne's, and I never played the second Max Payne, which is the good one, I will play it and try to do a run for my channel. But I don't really care, and I find the story fine and dialogue fine, and Max's character is really fine and cynical as he always been, right? Like it's not Max Payne 1 smart cynical jokes, but it's still the good old man that we like, right? I guess people are pissed because he didn't get in this game. I guess he didn't get over his. I guess his. I guess depression, you could say, because he kind of accepted it, like in the end of this game in Max Payne 2, and the people say it ruined his character by making him again a drunk man. So I don't know. I liked it. I don't really mind that. I don't really go for the story in this game. This game is. It's not really. I don't think this game is made for that. The next section, and then there's an abrupt cut. Then, if you got past the previous section, you will have a good time passing the rest of the game. This game, that section is basically the only section that is really tricky and hard, not in a good way, like in a bullshit way. And this is my favorite part. This close quarters moment in the favelas level, they are so cool. They're really cool. You just shoot dodging the bullet time makes you dodge the bullets, and the bullets appear and stuff like that. It's like, it looks really cool. And you can open the doors by shooting them. Is way better than opening them normally, because Max will have a really shit animation to open them. This part was really tricky for me on hardcore, but now I did it really easily. Even when I knew all the enemy placements on hardcore, I got a hard time going through here. But right now, that didn't happen for some reason. Maybe because I had the bullet time. So good. This game is so good. I fucking love this game. My aiming doesn't show that. I'm really bad at aiming. I should consider getting better. Yeah, this is the only door you can open it by shooting it. I remember on hardcore I missed an enemy or something because the slow-mo didn't appear, but what I think it was is just I was so near the enemy that the slow-mo couldn't really trigger. This is the part I love. Look at this. This is so awesome. I'm just going to enter there, dodge the bullets like a beast. Look at that. Oh man, that looks so good. Look at the bullets. Just Max dodging all those bullets. It looks so good. This is my favorite part of this chapter. Just going in, they shoot at you, you go into bullet time, dodge the bullets and just shoot them. It's, oh man. This is the game of, I can see why people love the first two Max Paynes, because those games are just, it's the games of your dreams basically. You just dream when you're a kid and you play games. Your imagination really makes you think of the possibilities of game creation. You know, you just think of these ridiculous games that people could come up, and this is like that fantasy. You just dodging bullets, shooting enemies, and it's awesome. And yeah, this is the part that I talked about earlier, where you will take damage even if you kill everyone. Look, I will kill that guy, I will kill this guy, I'll kill that guy. Boom, I take damage. Not from that one, because the hit mark. Look, I'm taking damage from nowhere. Where is he? He's nowhere. This is glitched. I tried to restart the checkpoint. I tried to restart the checkpoint from the chapter select. It doesn't work. I will always take damage from nowhere. You saw the hit mark. The hit mark was pointing at behind me where there's nobody there. I am in good cover. There's no way I took damage in there, and this is dangerous because those things can really damage you. But still, it really makes me sad because it ruins everything. It really does ruin everything. I had such a good time, and then the game crashes, the game gets glitchy, and then when you want to do that section, which is kind of tricky, to begin with, I remember on the hardcore, I spent those 10 seconds practicing, was like 40 minutes, and it's a damn shame because just because I take damage from nowhere, it's so weird. It really put me off from this run. It really did. It made me want to restart the whole chapter, but I didn't really want to get through that really bad section. If it wasn't for that bad section, I would restart the chapter and try to do that section without taking damage. But I don't know, man. It just, I don't know. I think it was a glitch. If you want to call me scrub or saying this run is not valid, I don't care. I really can't do anything about it unless to restart that chapter. And as much as I want to do that, I don't want to do that stupid section again. It took me like 3 hours to get through that section, knowing every enemy placement. Imagine just retrying that. No, hell no, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, chapter 8, another amazing chapter, and a short one too. Is one of my favorite chapters too. Every chapter is my favorite chapter, except for 12. But I think the first time I played this chapter, I had a few troubles, and I had those troubles made me not really like this chapter as much. But now that I have the knowledge and I know the enemy placements, I really appreciate this chapter. I really love the flashback chapters, the New York chapters, the chapters that people that play this game can actually understand. Because this game is 70% Portuguese. Only Max is the only person that speaks English, and Passos speaks English too, but is not his screen time. His screen time is not really the best thing, and you can hear more enemy conversations in this game, more than actually exposition. So yeah, I wonder how it is to play this game as an English speaking person. I wonder, because I understand everything they say, and I'm not going to say that it helps the story that much, because it doesn't. It just complements a little bit, not really a lot. Because I think it was Seraphim 17 that said the game should be subbed. The Portuguese parts should be subbed, even though I understand why they weren't subbed, and it kind of ruined it for him. But it's not. It doesn't really make a difference, to be honest. It's just random stuff most of the times, and I guess in the favela parts it kind of helped for the development and for the, I guess, the world building in that small section. But I don't know. Maybe there's a mod out there to that subs. I, it probably exists. I mean, come on, why wouldn't it exist? It's not a hard thing to do. It's just to sub the game. Okay, that's a hard thing to do because this game is like 70% Portuguese. So, but there's people in the Portuguese community that games that don't get Portuguese subs, they will make mods where they sub the entire game. So subbing the Portuguese lines in this game wouldn't be a really hard mod. It would take a lot of time, but if people really want to understand them, they can. Or they can just watch a video, a really good video that I watched on a YouTube channel called. Actually, I don't know how it was called. I watched it like a year ago, and it's a video series that called "What They Are Saying," and they made a really good job. I think they got everything. I think they got every line, at least every important line from the game. So if you want to have an idea what they are saying, I guess, and go check those what are they saying. Check Max Payne 3 what they are saying. It's probably going to be the first one of the first results. I really recommend that video. But yeah, this chapter is it's really sweet. I like how it looks too. I like the color palettes. And the next section is pretty cool too. The next after this one, because the enemies they are aligned. If you don't shoot the guy that's holding passes, if you shoot the guy that's holding passes and like shoot dodge towards him, you will have a harder time to kill the enemies because they will be in a weird spot. But if you don't do that, you will have a really good time shooting them because they are aligned. You just need to move forward and shoot them as you go. Yeah, you just stay here. Don't really move. It doesn't make a difference. You will die in one bullet. And yeah, this part there will be a line. If my aiming was better, this section would look a lot more cooler. Excuse me. Look at this. Damn, let's go. Yeah, I use cover here because I'm not really confident in their placements. And if this was hardcore, I would probably be dead by now. Seriously, if this was hardcore, I was dead. I didn't even use bullet time. Just how not as accurate. They're not as accurate in hardcore as in old school. And that's probably the reason why most of runs of Max Payne 3 on YouTube, no damage, are on old school, because old school is way fun. It's way more fun than hardcore. Even though I had a good time on hardcore, but some sections can be pretty frustrating. And if you want to be more aggressive and more open and use more the bullet time, old school is the difficulty to go. Or they did that because, well, it's the last difficulty and they think that it's the hardest, I guess. But I don't think it is. Even the game description says that hardcore is the hardest difficulty. The only thing that old school has, probably on old school, enemies are scripted to be in the hard difficulty, and you can instantly die in if you like you can instantly die if your health bar gets to zero. So you have to take the painkillers manually, which is kind of advantages for this run because on hardcore, if they could enemies could kill you instantly with an headshot. And what it sucks is that you can't really restart the checkpoint in those moments. You have to kill the guy, and sometimes I didn't have bullets, and you have to let yourself die in slow motion. It's really frustrating. So old school has that advantage. You die instantly. You don't need to wait for a basically a cutscene to restart the checkpoint. So it's really fast. But in terms of damage, I think the AI is on hard, but hard difficulty in terms of damage is already really good. And hardcore, I have to admit, since their aiming is better, an headshot will kill you instantly. Here I never got killed instantly on old school as much I did in hardcore. Hardcore was really common, dying like instantly, instant death. So I don't know. And even Seraphim17 said that hardcore is the hardest difficulty, and I think I think he no damaged or practiced this no damage on stream on hardcore, and he had a really difficult time in some sections. And I think he said in his run that the hardcore is the most difficult one. That's why I went for hardcore the first time and not old school. So I don't really get it why he went for old school in his run. Maybe it's because it's more fun and he likes stuff that is more fun and less frustrating, and I can really understand that. That's totally understandable. It's really This is basically the end of the chapter. The next fights are not really hard. Oh no, except for one. There's one part that is actually quite tricky because you can't see the enemies again. Literally, you can literally see the enemies, but they can't see you because they can wallbang you through the curtains, and you can too, but you don't know where they are. The curtains are really thick. You can't really know, and if you rush through the curtains, you will die. Sorry about that. You will instantly get shot. So you have to wait for them to get out of the curtains and with cover, because if you wait for them in the open, they will shoot you through the curtains. It sucks. It really sucks. I think this is one of the sections in this game that is really sucky, but it's short, so actually it's not really that short. The checkpoint is quite shit. If you pick up the shotgun and while you're taking cover, you're covering passos, they can shoot you through the geometry, and you can too, and I will use that to my advantage. But if you get shot, you have to go back down. The checkpoint is that trash, and this is the part. They can see you through the curtains, and you can't. So I'm kind of shooting, kind of having a lucky guess. I'm waiting then for waiting to come. Once you kill them all, you are free to go, but it's tricky. I spent quite a lot, like 20 minutes on that. It's a short section to be spending 20 minutes, and on this one, avoid even showing your head. I would I would recommend to avoid, because see how I'm shooting through that piece of wood? They can do that too. So if you show too much of your head, they will shoot through that and they will hit you. So wait until the enemies get really close to passos, and you will have a really good advantage over them. They will die in 2 bullets, so it's fine. They won't do anything to passos. There's this guy and if the enemy is focused on you and doesn't rush passos, try to use the shoot dodging and dodge their bullets, and that looked cool, but it was risky as hell, and I got lucky. As cool as dodging bullets is. And this is the end of chapter 8. A really good chapter. Really sweet one with just 10 seconds of bad design, which no game can escape it, except for Dead Space and Resident Evil. Sorry about that. I'm The next chapter is chapter 9. Oh yeah, chapter 9 is really, I liked it. I remember when I edited chapter 9 for the no damage. That chapter was really, this was the shortest. It was like 2 minute fight because I edited everything. And so, but here is gonna be a little bit longer. Just a second. Oh my god, that was so trash. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to do this recording in one go, and it's a shame that I had to stop at 2 hour streak, man. Just because some freaking hands. I hate hands. There's nothing worse than hands. And I had to do something about it. It took me like 10 minutes or something. Oh man, they're so disgusting. I hate hands. Like there's no bug in this world that's more disgusting than ants. There really isn't. At least I don't think so. I mean, you can argue cockroaches. Yeah, I guess, but at least they don't live. They don't live like in the most. They don't live in things that you like. If you like, they once lived under my computer screen, and I had to clean that shit up. It was so disgusting. I hate it. So now I'm more. Now every time I see just a little bit of like signs there's ants somewhere, I will hunt their nest. I will literally commit genocide on their people and will kill every ant it's possible that is in my room because I don't want those disgusting beings living in my room. Fucking hell. And the worst thing is that they look, there's one here. They they literally they literally made me stop my commentary. Yeah, where are they? Dude, where they're coming from? I don't want to spend my commentary seeing where there's fucking cunts are coming from. I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna see where they're coming from, dude. Oh man, I hate these animals. Oh man, I hope. Oh man, I hope they're not like inside my console. Like, imagine them being inside my PlayStation 3. Everything's possible after what I've seen about ants living in spaces. Dude, I don't use my PS3 for like 2 or 3 years because it's broken, but I keep it there anyway. But if they're living, I don't know, man. Oh man. But anyways, I don't want to talk about that anymore, unless I get interrupted again. And just talk about this section and this chapter, which is, in terms of combat, is a really short chapter. But if you, but in terms of actually pacing in the story and cutscenes, it's actually a really long chapter. Well, not long, but it seems long because this chapter is almost cutscenes that you can skip, and the moments like this, like walking, stuff like that, walking to people's homes. Not every part will have will have someone inside, but yeah. Like parts like this, they're not really the best because the cover here is kind of not the best, and the shoot dodging in here is really risky because you can hit collision like this and fail miserably. So it's not really worth it. I hope the ants are not angry at me. I literally try to commit genocide on the ants. I hope they're not angry. I hate them. I don't want to talk about this anymore. But they always come to mind, so it's hard not to talk about it. Fucking stupid ants. I have to call a exterminator and is it how you call it in English? And we call it well, the translation would be exterminator, like for bugs infestation. Even though my ant problem is not that bad, but just to be sure, I would kill every single one. Just I would pay money just to get rid of even the slightest one. Jesus Christ, I hate it so much. It's the struggles of living in a house instead of an apartment. Because on an apartment you won't see anything like bugs and stuff like that. And stuff like that in apartments are so rare. Since like apartments have maintenances and stuff like that, and houses, houses is hard to maintenance every year or something like that. Like they will live in the ants are hard because they will live in places where so they're so small. I really hate it. So garbage. It's a shame. They're literally ruining my commentary right now. More focused on them than this game. Fucking hell, and this game is amazing. I don't want to focus on hands. But anyway, this is probably the the hardest part of this chapter. And I say this because on hardcore I had a hard time in this part in terms of even when I knew enemies placements, it was kind of tricky because the environment in here is kind of awkward to move around, and if you shoot dodge here, you can clip in collision and really screw everything. And there's a risk that you can fall down because the bridge is so small, the wooden bridge. So the bullet time is the best option here. You just need to know where they're coming from. Not really, you don't rush, don't be really aggressive, be patient. Here I am. Like Max sometimes, when you do the back dodge, Max sometimes takes a long time to do it because of his stupid animation prioritization. And this is one checkpoint too. Literally one checkpoint this whole section, so you need to know where these guys are coming from because you are not at an advantage here because they can see you, they can see your head before you can even see them, so they will damage you pretty easily. Every time you are in like an elevation and you're at the top, you are always in a disadvantage, which is kind of weird because that's not usually how it works. The person above, it has the high ground after all. If you have the high ground, you are in an advantage. But this is not a first-person shooter. In third-person shooters, that's not the case. Though, maybe if you're not doing no damage, maybe that's changed because you don't really care if you're taking damage or not. So you have a better position. But if you're wanting to do no damage and the aiming of the enemies are this good, then it's really difficult. And this is basically the end of the chapter. Just need to watch this really long cutscene. This is the one of the longest cutscenes in the game again, and it's not paced. The sorry about that. What shit? My throat, man. This is what happens when you do 2-hour commentary. But yeah, it's not paced really that great. It's quite. I don't really like it. I guess it's exposition and stuff like that. You're seeing them. Max is kind of wondering what they are doing, and it kind of gives you. It's like a clue to the. It's like a piece of the puzzle for the game's story, which is kind of interesting. That they are trafficking human organs from people from this favela. So I thought that was an intriguing plot. It's kind of, and the moment where you see the surgeon that makes the that takes the organs out of the people, and you see all the bodies and stuff like that. It's quite a strong scene, I have to admit. It's probably one of the best scenes of the game because it's tense and there's a lot of emotion. And I paused over here for some reason. And even though Max and his emotions, especially in this game where he has to act a little bit more, sometimes a little bit more out of character, if I can say that, because he needs to be a little bit angry at that part where he sees the surgeon, and Max, like in the previous games, I only played Max Payne 1, and I never saw Max like angry, like really angry. And the moments where he's angry and has to speak louder, it's kind of weird. And I'm not going to say that it's bad acting, voice acting, but it's for Max, it's literally something that he probably is not used to do because it's maybe that's why Rockstar wanted to replace Max as voice actor, because Max in this game was going to have a different voice actor, and probably was because of those moments to make him a little bit more emotional and stuff like that. And even though I don't really like those moments, are not really strong, is his strongest moments in terms of voice acting. I'm still glad they went with the same voice actor because the Max Payne's voice is amazing. I really like it, and I'm glad that this was basically my first Max Payne, and I'm glad they kept it in because I can appreciate how good his voice is. If they replaced it and went to the old games, and the voice in the old games would be pretty good, and in the new game, I don't know which voice actor would it be, but I probably would prefer if they kept it the same. It's just, but still, I think his voice acting, the entire game is really good. Even in those weird moments, kind of out of character moments, it's pretty good. He did a really good job, and I'm glad that people actually called out Rockstar on that. And here it is. Chapter 9 is done, and then now to chapter 10. And this is the chapter that. Oh, still not chapter 10. It's still a bit of cutscene, but this is the chapter that I was mistaken for chapter 12 and was talking trash to chapter 10, even though chapter 10 is a really good chapter. Fucking hell, and I was being harsh on chapter 10 too. I hope I don't make that mistake ever again. So yeah, there will be these 3 guys. No, 4. There's 4 guys. And we'll shoot those out of the bus window. I always did that. It's really fun. I think I did it on my hardcore run too. And then there will be a sniper guy. He's still alive. Maybe there's one more guy. No, there's way more guys than I was expecting. Then the snipers. Snipers are not that bad, they're easy. And oh man, the rest of this chapter is so good. I really love this chapter. The next section is, oh man, it's so good. I really love the open environments here. Again, I don't know if this is based in a real location. But oh man. So taking down the sniper is the first thing to do, and then there's going to be those guys that are going to come out, and then these guys are going to be behind the bus. I'm going to kind of lose the cover a little bit. I'm going to go in and out, but I think it's just to get a little bit of a shoot dodge, and then it's good. There's still guys. There's still one guy. It's so good. I really love this game. Then another long cutscene. I think that's the only problem with this chapter. It's just there's the pacing. This chapter's pacing is not as good as the other ones and the ones in the future, because you have to watch a lot of cutscenes, unskippable cutscenes in this one. Like this one. This one is kind of long, unfortunately. I wish I could just. I wish I edited this down. This, but no, I can't. I can't really go back. I'm just going to keep it. Make the most out of it, I guess. And I'm just detecting if I can see hands. And till now coast is clear in terms of ants. Man, but if I see one, I will kill it really hard. And I'm sorry for those people that like ants, because I know there's people that like ants. Like that guy in prison school. What is his name? His name was Joe. Was Joe, right? Something. It was Joe. He was always coughing. He really liked ants. I really can't imagine being that person. If he was living where I live, man, he would be a real lucky guy, because ants here are in everyone's home. Like ants are everywhere. This is what it does when you live in places like in the country, I guess, instead of the city. Even though my whole region is a country, and the city is really small. The city area. This is the other cool one. The cool slow-mo motion. Slow-mo motion. Slow-mo section. So I will collect everything I can. Every bullet helps in these chapters, but there will be chapters where you'll just run out of bullets. So I will use the rifles, even though the rifles are not very good because they're not really accurate. Even when oh, look at this. This is when my aiming is like, yeah, this is when I want to aim, aka lucky. Yeah, this is the assault rifles are not the best in terms of accuracy. When the shots accuracy, the double pistols, you can aim is easier to aim to their heads and always get them. So it's even worse with the one pistol. But yeah, we'll use the rifles, and then when in the most interesting sections are the really good sections, I will use the pistols, the double pistols. Then another unskippable cutscene. Man, I wish you could skip this. It makes me appreciate just games that let you skip everything. Which game is it? Like Resident Evil 3 Remake. That game lets you skip everything, like even the walking radio sections. Resident Evil 2 Remake didn't let you do that. Resident Evil 7 is another one of annoying, unskippable stuff. The worst part of my no damage run of Resident Evil 7 until now was probably the guest cabin because before you fight Mia, there's like 3 unskippable cutscenes that you have to watch. And I was still learning Mia. I was getting used to her. I was trying to make her not grab me and trying to find her and trying to make her flinch every time 100% consistently, which I succeeded in. But it was so annoying to restart every time I wanted to reset her fight. I had to restart from the door where you open the door and she does that jump scare, and then she stabs you and stabs you again, and then you have to wait for her to get up, and then she grabs you and throws you. It's so annoying. It's like the worst parts of Resident Evil 7. Just, and probably Jack Baker's second form boss fight, because the game gives you a checkpoint, and the checkpoint is in the cutscenes. Like, it's like the moment the cutscene plays. Well, come on, if you're going to give a checkpoint in a difficulty where there's no checkpoints, if you're deliberately giving a checkpoint, please give it after the cutscene. Like, come on, you literally chose that checkpoint. Choose it, make it better. Jesus. Not that I'm complaining, because that's the only like checkpoint. Not the only, but one of the only checkpoints the game will give you in that difficulty, because and it's not like the save room is too far away, but they still give you, which is pretty good, because that boss fight, even though it's good designed and I really like it, it takes way too long to kill it if you don't have the right weapons. And I think I'm going to do it knife only. Well, not knife only, but I will destroy most of his weak spots with the knife, so I don't waste a lot of bullets. And it takes a long time, and it's easy to get hit sometimes. But if you know Jack Baker's patterns, it's not really that hard. And I'm talking about Resident Evil 6 in the Max Payne 3 video. Lol. I shouldn't do that, because that section that I just got past, it's the best section in this chapter. I really like it, because it's an office area. There's like papers flying around, there's like glass falling down. The enemy placements is really cool. So, and then the next section, you cannot not take damage. It's another one of those sections where you should like a shooting section. I don't know what you would call this section. It's like it's not a turret section, because there's no turret, but it's in the same style, I guess. So yeah, it's not really something you want to do, to not damage these sections, because they can shoot you. Literally, they can shoot you before you can even see them. The only thing, you can kill everyone and you will receive a bonus, which is kinda cool. And they all die in one shot, so it's really nice. I really like killing all of them this part. Yeah, man. And I really love this outfit for Max. And oh man, the details, the sweat and all of that shit, and the dirt and stuff like that. Max Payne 3 was so ahead of its time. Man, such a great looking game. It aged amazingly. I just don't really know how a game can age this good. I played Red Dead Redemption 1 and well, I played it on PlayStation Now, which is the original PlayStation 3 version. There's nothing really added to it, and it looks so bad. Like, it didn't age well. And even this game on PlayStation 3, which I bought, I bought this game for the PlayStation 3 at first, and even for the PlayStation 3, this game looked so good. Only the frame rate was really bad. And on PC, this game is Looks so good. Damn, man. If people are only console only players, they really deserve a what is called a remastered of this game. I don't know how Rockstar didn't release a remaster of this game by now. It would be a cash grab. Just update the resolution. Put the textures on high or something like that. Like no, literally just port the PC version to PlayStation 4. That's it. You don't need to do a lot. At least I think you can. You don't need. Literally, just do that. And Red Dead Redemption, like why isn't Red Dead Redemption has an HD version? Bully too, like Bully has an HD version if I'm not mistaken. Why not Red Dead Redemption? Come on. All GTAs have it. I guess Rockstar doesn't see the profit in them since GTA is a really big brand or big game. But yeah, this is the section where on hardcore is a pain and on this is a pain too because you literally need to expose yourself and you can't really dodge anything. So I'm going to blind fire, and even if you blind fire, they still can hit you. It's amazing. And when they hit you when you blind fire, and if they use you can kinda say they are hitting me on the hands, but it's for some like that I say that. So good they are. If the game didn't give you like some sort of weird iframes in the hands, the this section would be terrible. I can't really imagine doing this without the lucky iframes, and that's lucky because it's not consistent. I was shot in the hands and got damaged anyway, so I think it's just like a grace period, I guess. If you were too much time exposed, it will be worse. And here's chapter 11, and here's there's another glitchy part of the game. You will see that De Silva, I think it's his name, De Silva will appear in his car, and his model won't be loaded, so the car is driving by itself. And then the map will be invisible too. The map will be invisible. It won't load when they're driving. Look at this. It's not there. It's not in the car. Look at this. It's invisible. The car is driving itself. Look at that. Look at this. Amazing. This is amazing. Did you see that? Oh man, this is just. That was good. That was that was impressive. Max Payne 3 is a optimized video game. Oh man, but that's funny. That's just funny. It doesn't really get in the way, like in chapter 7. And oh man, chapter 7 was worst. Was the worst for glitches and bugs. And then we'll transition to chapter 11. Another really good chapter. And it's the chapter that has the best uh, soundtrack. The soundtrack for chapter 11 is amazing. I used to listen to it every day, the Panama theme. I don't remember what's the name of the song, but I think it's called Panama or something. So yeah, there's still this really long cutscene anyway. It sucks that you can't really skip this. I wish you could skip this. But instead you have to enjoy Max putting his hands in there, just thinking about life. Look at him. Oh man. This is the part where the plot twist happens. Or if you can call it a plot twist, even though it's kind of dumb. They I think Seraphim17 said the same thing, that Max was. It's just such a dumb way to hide this plot point, because Max was just loaded and drunk. He didn't really see what was happening, or didn't really thought it was suspicious. But it's so dumb. It's really dumb. Whatever. This is the cutscene that I just skipped. It's probably my favorite cutscene in the game, because Max is being like a. It's being so relatable, and the characters that he needs to protect are so douchey and so stupid in purpose, and Max is just so. He answers like he was me in that situation. I don't know how he puts up with these people, and it's really interesting to see how he puts up with this kind of people. That's literally the polar opposite of what he is. It's it's probably one of the most interesting aspects of this game's story. But I don't really want to see it like 100 times every time I play this game. But yeah, it's starting this really good chapter, and the gun. And even the gun is the best gun in this chapter. The Glock is amazing. If you have the double Glocks, oof, it feels so good. It feels different from the other guns, like really. So accurate, and the rate of fire is so good. Look at this. Boom, boom, just wrecking everyone with my bad aim. Damn. Look at that. Boom. I love this game. I really love this chapter. Even though the pacing in this chapter is just, it's not as action like some of the other ones, but at least you can skip almost every cutscene. Actually, I think you can skip every cutscene in this one. Like this one, get skip, and you will take damage. Yeah, there's another moment where you take damage in the cutscene, and there's a hand over here. Kill it, boom, dead. Where are they coming from? I want to mess up around with my microphone, but I will buy a ant killer thing. I will kill all of them. They'll die. As horrible as that sounds, this part is kind of breaks the pacing, doesn't it? You take mandatory damage too, but I don't really mind. Oh my god, sorry about that. I'm being disgusting and unprofessional. There are going to be two guys behind that door, so I will be ready. Already know they're there, so I'm going to shoot dodge. Oh man, that was so cool. The bullet just, oh, the spray. Really love the spray of bullets. There's nothing more eye candy than Max dodging a spray of bullets in this game. Damn, it's so good. It's one thing I like about Fear. Fear 1 and Fear 2. More Fear 1, because Fear 1 you fight more human enemies. Fear 1 is so beautiful. And there's like bullet sprays. I want to know damage Fear 1, but I can't get a Fear 1 like official version. I don't think it exists. So I have to pirate it, unfortunately. I have Fear 2 though, but Fear 2, even though Fear 2 is an amazing game and it's probably better than Fear 1, I just love the Fear 1. It's just, I mean, I don't know, it's just, it was the time, you know. I guess it has the charm of the time, I guess. And I'm going through these rooms because I love the music in this section, so I'm making time so I can listen to the music and be a badass while the music is playing. Like, boom, boom, boom. Oh man, that was so close. Oh, so good. Oh man. Look, this part is even greater. I really love this part. This part, like, the windows and stuff like that. Like, oh man, you can't see shit, but it's so good. It's like, you just shoot through the windows and it's all breaking. And man, this game is so eye candy. Look at that. Going to the table and everything falls. I really like it. I'm going to kill everyone in here too. It doesn't make a difference if you restart the checkpoint in the next section, but I will do it because you can't really get. It's tricky to get skip this section without taking damage. So I'm going to skip the checkpoint. And they will be there anyway. But if you don't use the checkpoint, they won't be there. I tried last time, and they are a nuisance when they are in there. So it's a shame that the checkpoint did respawn them. Oh man, that looks so cool. I love this game. Look at this. Dodging the spray of bullets is so cool. Look at that. Let's just. Oh man. There's nothing better than this game. This is the peak of third-person shooters, in my opinion. If it wasn't for the heavy animations, this game would be the peak for third-person shooters. I can't. Okay, Vanquish. Maybe you can argue Vanquish is the peak of third-person shooters, and it's way more mechanical than this, and has more depth to it. So you can objectively say that Vanquish is probably more the peak than this one, but I don't know, man. In terms of third person, like, I guess general, like generic, even though I don't really like to call this game a generic third person because it isn't, but in that area, this game is just the peak of an action third person game. And I don't really want to call this game generic because it isn't generic. But compared to Vanquish, you can call this game generic because Vanquish is just amazing. So good. This is the only section that I don't like, this chapter. They are so far away. Any section where the enemies are so far away and you can't really have a good aim on them. And they always have a really accurate aim on you, and it always sucks. And it's going to be the next chapter where that's going to suck a lot. Yeah, look at me, I'm just trying. It's a really tricky place to shoot him. And the checkpoint is horrible too. Another cutscene you can skip. Look at that. Oh man, the spray. Dodging that spray is so good. You feel really powerful. Like boom boom. Oh man. That's the end of this section. This section is pretty good. It's more close quarter. This one you could say it's one of those bad ones because you don't have an idea where they are. Because there will be guys hiding inside. But I forgive this part because the cover is pretty good. There's not really a lot of open spaces like this. It's just the doors that you need to be careful. The rest, you have good cover. You can use this as cover if you want, like I'm doing here. They replace you the Glock. Take away the Glock. I don't really like when this game does that. It's another negative point that I can take away from this game. It's what the game will just it will just take weapons away from you. Man, I wish you could just choose a weapon for each chapter and just go with it. If you could do that, I would just go with the Glocks. Most certainly. I love this part. I love this part because I already know where they are. So I'm just need to shoot, shoot, shoot. It's so good. This is what I love about this kind of games, third-person games. When you played it so much, you know where they're going to be, or you have an idea in case of RNG AI behavior, that you just have fun by just destroying these sections because you already know where everyone is. This is why I love seeing people playing those games where the enemy placements are so consistent. There's speedrunners that completely destroy the game because they know, and it's amazing to see. Look at that, that's so good. That spray, dodging that spray is the best thing. There's no, I don't think there's more. At least here. There will be one over there. Boom, oh man, knew it. So good, so good. It's gonna be interesting. And officially, I just need to commentate another hour, and the chapter will be done. The chapter, not the game, will be done, which makes me really happy that I did this in one day. Shame that I didn't do it in one go, even though it was a 10-minute break because of stupid ants, which I'm scouting for right now. And I'm really glad that did this in one day because I can quickly edit the commentary in and the export the video. It's going to take a while. Really big video, and I'm probably going to do a break in a bit. Anyway, bathroom break. It has to happen. No. I will try to hold it as much as possible, even though it's not really bad right now. But if it gets bad, I will take a break, and I will say when I take breaks because I like doing that. I like saying stuff like that. Like, I know it's unprofessional, but who cares? Oh man, the cutscene for this one is really big too. What about me? And then here he is revealing interesting plot points. Like it's giving an exposition dump about the plot twist. It's not really that great, to be honest. Again, the story in this game is the weakest point of this game, in my opinion. Unfortunately. Rockstar did their best, I guess. Even though GTA 5 stories... Like, stories in GTAs are... They were never... like known to be good. I mean, GTAs were just they're known as really fun open world games. It's just GTA 5. When Rockstar released GTA 5, it changed everything. Like Rockstar now are just focused on creating good stories. GTA 5, then Red Dead Redemption 2, and what more? I guess GTA San Andreas had a good story. I barely remember it though, but I remember enjoying it a lot, so I guess it's not really a post GTA 5 thing. And Red Dead Redemption 1 story, I never played it, I just played it a little bit in PlayStation Now, but I heard that it's pretty good too. People say that GTA 4 story is great, but I didn't feel that one. The dialogue was good, It was the next gen logical, logical like a sequel for the GTA San Andreas. You were expecting to be as good as GTA San Andreas, but and the dialogue was good, but the story didn't do it for me. But it did for a lot of people. That's really good. Let me see more. I think it was just GTA San Andreas, maybe Manhunt. But Manhunt was just the shock value, the fun of killing people or something like that. I never played Manhunt, but that's what it looks to me. It's not like a great story, it's just a really weird and cool setting for you to just commit these horrible acts. But I never played or watched anything about Manhunt 2. I actually didn't know it existed until a while ago. I thought it was just Manhunt 1. Oh, sorry about that. More Rockstar games. I only can think about GTAs and this Max Payne and Red Dead Redemption, Manhunt, and can't really think about any other game. And here starts this really chapter that could have been good, but it has really bad sections that stains this chapter. These sections right now, they are very good. The environments are really well designed. The aesthetic, if you want to say that, they are very. I like it. This is the best part of this chapter, and I like how close quarters the combat right now is. So this is good right now, but this chapter has so much shit on it, and it's not even like in a lot of encounters, just two encounters where it's just bullshit, and it ruins the chapter because you want to get it done. It's a shame they ruined it, and it will take a lot of time. This is the chapter. Even on my hardcore run, even now, like on my hardcore run, obviously I took like what 4 hours to go through this entire chapter. My old school was less, probably like 3 hours or 2 hours, but it was just stay on the first on those really bad sections. This one is tricky and kinda bullshitty because they're so far away. I don't really like when they do that. The enemy is so far away you can barely shoot them. They can shoot you perfectly. Oh, but I know where they. I know when they're coming. Have that advantage. Look at this. Oh, look at that spray, dude. Oh, that spray. Then the explosion. So good. Then going to be a unskippable cutscene again. Which it doesn't help for this chapter. It's a good one though. I really like the cutscenes in this one. They're intense. Especially the one that's coming after this one. You see your enemy just defeated, and Max sees it, and he respects it. He knows how it feels to be defeated and to be betrayed and to have your life just crumbling down in just 1 second. It's a really good scene, this one right now. It's one of the good ones. Look, this is Serrano. It's like he just sees how bad he is, just how beat up he is. It's a really good scene. I really like it. They did a really good job. I'm a sucker for moments like this in movies, and in movies they quite do it a few times. And in really good movies, when they do it, I really like it. Like I remember like Pulp Fiction. In Pulp Fiction, when I don't remember the name of the characters. I'm really bad at remember stuff like that. Happened the same with the album names, but man, I don't remember. But that part when they're basically are they're strapped against their will in those chairs, and the other guy gets basically raped, and then they become friends, basically not friends, but they basically respect one another. They know what they went through, so they just put everything behind them. Those kind of moments. It's been a while since I watched that movie, so the names, I'm not remembering the names of the characters. I'm trying to think right now, trying to think really hard. But yeah, this is it. This is the section. This is a really look. I'm playing like a bitch, and there's a reason for it. Because enemies like this, I got shot. On hard, especially on hardcore, just exposing a little bit of my body like that, you will have the high risk of getting shot. And can you see how much you cannot see? Are you seeing this? They can shoot you perfectly from that distance, and the only thing I can see is a little hole through those like through those metal beams and stuff like that. And I barely have bullets. It's so bad. Like everyone is just hidden, and they don't rush. And that's the thing, they don't even rush. Most enemies in this game rush, and these guys just stay in cover in purpose, so that as soon as you expose yourself, they all at the same moment, they will all get out and just shoot you perfectly. It's so bad. I hate this part. You just need to play really safe, and I don't like it. This is not how I like to play this game. I don't even remember how I did this on hardcore, but I did it. It was stupid. I probably mashed shoot dodge, like the shoot dodge. Probably I did that, but oh man. Or I did this. I probably did this too. I remember playing safe anyway. Oh man, it's so look how I'm playing. Look at what I can see. Did you see that? I need to aim between those piece of metal and that beam thing. It's so bad. I hate this. And your vision is obstructed by the fence. So add that to the obstruction. It's so bad. Why I don't get it. Why don't they make 2 additional spawns? One spawn over here, and then when you progress, like when you're kinda here, the 3rd spawn will trigger in that room. It would be way more fair, but no, they all spawn at the same time. So when you're way far behind, enemies in the back of that room can perfectly shoot you when you can't see nothing. It's really bad. I don't like it. It was so bad. And I'm here, and I'm playing really safe because the checkpoint is so bad. The checkpoint is literally the start of this area. Back at the pool. It's so, man, I hate this. So I'm playing really safe. And did you see? There's just so many enemies in here. I'm just, oh man, so bad, really bad. This is the section that made me hate this chapter. There's no other way to describe it. This section destroys this chapter. And it was such a cool chapter in the beginning. And it could have been so simple to fix this fight. Just make separate spawns. Is it so hard to do that? Just make a spawn here when I get into this room. It's so bad. The game does that all the time. They they put spawns like depending on the position that you are or the progress that you're making. Why not here? It's so bad. But here's a really good scene. Another scene that I liked because it's intense. And this is where the Max's acting is a little bit different from the other game. So it's kind of weird to listen to Max's voice actor being this angry. But I don't blame Max to be angry. I would, after seeing what he saw, it's the most, it's the most logical emotion. They won't. Max can't be just cynical in this part. But Serrano here has the phenomenal voice acting. Is pissed. He's really pissed, and it really shows in his voice acting. I don't really know the voice actors in Brazil. I don't know who made this voice act. I don't know who made his makes this character's voice, but he did a really good job. And the Brazilian voice actors for this game are really good too. They did a really good job. And then we have another good section at least. At least they're going to give two more good sections before we go to another really shit section. And on this one, I will recommend you leave the shotgun equipped because this shotgun is very good for close quarters. And since the rate of fire of this shotgun is really good, it gets really handy for this section. You'll see. It's not accurate, but you can kill. Or they're going to come, I think. They're not? Interesting. I thought by now the enemies would come, but I guess it's after I get all of this. Yeah, these guys. Look at it. Look how good this is. Like, maybe, yeah, look at it. Like, one shot. You can stun them too, so it's pretty good. Boom, just dead. Just die. Just get stunned and die. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think the really good thing about it, and this it comes just enemies will get stunned. And I have a bullet hole for no reason. Sometimes it happens. Max has bullet holes. You never got hit, or it's because of the previous checkpoint. Sometimes the bullet holes, the damage from the previous checkpoints will carry over in terms of visual effects, not in terms of actual damage. But yeah, equip the sniper, take those guys out, equip the shotgun again, and the shotgun will really shine here because everyone's like together, so you can stun everyone. That was really good, really fast too. So I'm waiting for guys over here, but there's oh yeah, they will come. I thought it was just next wave, but it's not. So they are all together, and it's like this weapon really shines when they're all just in one place. Yeah, there was, I think that was a golden part, a golden weapon part. I won't pick that stuff up. I'm not really a person for collectibles. Again, the shotgun shining. Look at that. Just it did such a good stun. I love how the enemies get stunned in this game. That's fundamental game design. That's something that every game designer should think about. Enemy reactions to to your weapons and to the damage that you inflict, because there's games where enemies don't react to your damage, and it makes the game really frustrating. It's not really fair. And you can see that this is the same engine as GTA 5, because enemies' reaction to bullets in GTA 5 it's the same, but not as ridiculous. Because in GTA 5 enemies don't die, especially in online mode. And it can help in GTA 5 that even when they're stunned, they still can shoot you. The same here, and when that happens here, it's bullshit, because sometimes I took damage once because one enemy was shooting while he was dying. But yeah, this is the section where I really thought this chapter was it's just not a good chapter. Not only the camera shake is so violent that you can't aim, Max will stumble around, so it makes shooting really hard. So that's why we'll still carry the shotgun, so that you get a better spray. And look at this. You need to wait for that animation. So if you come here and Max stumbles, you're basically done. It's so trash. And it seemed easy. I made it look really easy, didn't I? It's not easy, it's hard, really, really hard. And there's this guy waiting for you. Look at him. Oh man, this guy pissed me off, because at the moment that I could get past the previous part and he just shoots me, then I get like more 20 minutes trying to struggling with the aiming. My aiming is bad enough. Imagine add camera shake, and look at this camera shake right now. So I need to play like really safe. I need to play like a bitch. I hate that. It's unfortunately, I don't really like to say this, but it's the game's fault. Because if they look, it's so risky, because if they catch you in that animation, you're just dead. It's so bad. Yeah, better who cares, right? It's the last part. Look at that, you see that? Oh man, he wasn't even dead. So that explosion can trigger your stumbling animation, probably when that enemy is like shooting at you. It's just, man. Oh, and that's the end of this unfortunately terrible chapter. And it seems like a long chapter, but it isn't. It's just, you will be here for a long time in just 2 sections, because this game, because of really dumb game design decisions. But alright, but well, can't do nothing about that. The game is out for like, what, 7 years or something? 8 years? Still looking amazing, but still having these weird parts. And even in the time that this game came out, that was probably really bad. But anyway, the next chapter is going to be the hardest chapter and the best chapter, and not the hardest chapter because of stuff like this. Oh, and there's a really big cutscene too in this one. So weird. I'm going to complain again. Can't skip cutscenes, I'm going to complain. It's as simple as that. But yeah, the police chapter is it's really known to be a really difficult chapter, and for a good reason. It is really difficult, and but the thing is, it's difficult because it's good and it's well designed. and it's difficulty spike. The police station. This is where um, New York Minute hardcore runs come to die. People really, oh, excuse me for that. People really struggle. Um, People really struggle in this chapter for their New York Minute hardcore runs. So, no, for the hardcore New York Minute hardcore, you just need to know every painkiller location. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, New York Minute hardcore is set in hardcore difficulty. So, if that's true, that's even worse because if enemy, imagine getting one shot by a lucky enemy and just ending your run. Imagine you get one shot by an enemy. You don't have bullets in your gun, so you can't revive. Run, it's over. Go back to the beginning. Can you imagine that? That's probably the hardest trophy for this game. I never went for the trophies because of the multiplayer, but I bet that's the hardest. And I like the dialogue here. For the people that understand what they're saying, you gotta appreciate the funny dialogue in here. But for the people that don't understand, they're probably scared or probably like, oh, this is not good. It's kind of funny in a dark humor way because what's happening here is not really, actually funny. It's horrible, what they're doing and what they're saying is it's horrible things, but the way that this is just Rockstar way of doing things. Rockstar plays with these dark themes and twists it into humor. That's just the Rockstar way. And here's the end of the cutscene. You can skip it here. That's going to be it. This chapter is amazing. The start is just so good. It's kind of awkward though. I will let this guy come near me so I can just do that. It's a funny animation. And he's still alive too. On my hardcore run I did this differently. And as you noticed, if you watched my hardcore run, I'm doing way less shoot dodging. And it starts, this really magnificent chapter just starts, and I probably a lot of people hate this chapter because especially the people that played the New York Minute mode. This is probably the end for a lot of people, and to me, for in a no damage run perspective, this is just the best chapter of the game. It's challenging, it's fair, weirdly designed for gunfire, for gun combat. I guess it's a prison. Maybe prisons are designed for gun combat. Almost all of the cutscenes you can skip it, like this one. Oh, I love this part. Look at this. Just enemy placements really consistent. Just need to shoot dodge from pillar to pillar. Oh man, it's just so good. Look at that. Just wait for them to come out and just shoot them in the head. It's so good. This game is it's the peak. It's the peak. Peak for Rockstar and peak for this type of third-person shooters. It's just the peak, dude. And this game is the perfect length too. People wish they have had a Max Payne 4, but not me. I don't want them to ruin Max Payne 4. Because Rockstar right now is making more visual games than actual games, or I should say more movie games than actual games. And when they worked on Max Payne, they had that development hell and that really horrible experience. Imagine making really good looking game with the current technology and work with the gameplay at the same time. That's no wonder they don't want a fourth Max Payne. They want to make one, and it wouldn't really make as much profit as Red Dead Redemption unless they would waste a lot of money in marketing. And Red Dead Redemption 2 probably got the success it got because probably people branded it as the GTA, Old West GTA, so that helps a lot. This game has nothing to do with GTAs, and it's a Max Payne. People, when think about Max Payne, think about the really old Max Paynes and the Remedy times, which is not bad, it's really good. So I don't think it would profit a lot, so it's not it's really a bad idea. I'm still glad that this game exists, and we got it, and we should keep it at that. If continuing would be really, it would be a really bad idea in my opinion. I have a feeling Rockstar would ruin a lot of what makes this game really good. But anyway, moving on. There's a really weird transition here. I never got that transition too. On hardcore, even when I restarted the checkpoint here, I never got the transition. I think I would go all the way back to those guys outside. It's weird. Maybe it's an old school checkpoint. Yeah, oh, this is where my aiming looks decent. I just got that guy just like really good. And my aiming is like decent. I really think it's good because my aiming is so bad all the time. It's a breath of fresh air seeing me aim actually good. Oh, I love this part. This part is really good. Jump out of this window. Just kill everyone in one shoot dodge. Oh man, I love this part. And then you just need to wait for the other guys to spawn in the elevator. And get that momentum, that forward momentum. And just destroy them as soon as they come out of the elevator. It's so well designed, this section. This is what I'm talking about. They know how to make enemy spawns. It makes me think, how did they ruin the previous chapter spawns? So good. And then another really good one. And this one is hard. It's a tricky one. Because enemies will be all around you. You're basically surrounded, but if you know what you're doing, you can kill everyone without taking damage. And I'm being really dumb because there's enemies behind me. That's where you need to focus first. The enemies over there should be the last ones because they can't really shoot you if you're on the ground. Did you see that? That was so good. That took like really, that didn't really took, it was so fast. And my successful attempt was like the third attempt. Oh man, it was so good. Just wrecked this place and the shattered glass and oh man, this game is really special. It's really special to me. One of my favorite games. I don't know if I already said this in this commentary, but this is my favorite game of all time. I love this game. There's no game that I love to replay more than this one, and this one has annoying cutscenes. Annoying unskippable cutscenes, and I still like to replay it once in a while. There's no game that has that unless it's a Yakuza game. It's just so well made. It's such a good game. Going, oh man, And then I think it's the last section. It's pretty good, but this one is. I'm glad that you don't take mandatory damage in this one. Just need to shoot the vent and skip it. Not skip it, just. It will take away your weapon, your assault rifle, if you, in case you're carrying one. And yeah, it's the next section. So good. Yeah, this section is so good. It's so good, and I really did a bad job too. My hardcore one is way better in this part. This is only it's only a part where I did better in the hardcore run than this one. In the hardcore run, I think I rushed everything. I was super aggressive. I was shoot dodging, doing all that fancy stuff. But this one I wasn't that good, unfortunately. Like, still decent, I guess. I can say that. Man. Oh man, I love this game. It's just I don't know what it is. Just Rockstar made a masterpiece, or almost a masterpiece, if you look at it objectively. But in my mind, this game is just a masterpiece. Man, it just. Oh man, look at this. Look at this. I have no words to describe how awesome this looks. Even though you don't really do much. But it looks so good. And the game is good. Imagine a game that looks amazing and plays amazing. That's the time. That's really the time where these games in like 2012, 2010, that period in gaming, it just got so many amazing looking games with so good gameplay. Dead Space 2 is another one. Dead Space 2, it didn't age as good as this one graphically, but damn, that game still looks amazing, and at that time that game looked amazing, and it played and it still plays amazing, and it's another one of my favorite games ever. And it came out in 2011. It's just this period of time, man. It's just really good. We got Battlefield 3, which people say that Battlefield 4 is even better. But Battlefield 3 was so good at the time. It looked amazing. Sorry about that. Another game that looked amazing and played amazing. Jesus. And my throat is giving up on me right now. I should have refilled my water, but I forgot. So I have to do the next 20-ish minutes without water, and probably my voice tomorrow not working anymore. But I'm sorry if I sound a little bit more quiet because of that. And this is another section. I'm just going to orgasm. It's gonna be my entire commentary, just fangirling about this game's sections. They're so good. Oh man, this is so good. This one, another one, just so good. Look at I love this. This one is the best one. You just have all this cover, all these enemies. You just shoot through the cover, all the pieces of wood just jumping. Oh man, it's just so good. Look at this. Everything is just, oh man. And I remember Seraphim 17 playing this part quite safe, because he thought that this part wasn't really that good in terms of level design. But man, if you're more aggressive in this and know where the enemies are, it's so good. It's not bad design at all. It's Amazing. You can be aggressive in this part like I was. Like being exposed all the time. Did you see that? I was exposed for the majority of the time that I was shooting. And you see how good that was? How awesome that looked? And I'm playing the same difficulty as him. On hardcore, I think I cheesed it. Like on hardcore, I went with with his mindset. I didn't think I could be that aggressive. I think it did. I don't remember on my hardcore run, but now that I'm remembering, I think I was quite aggressive with my shoot dodging, and I remember that I did a shoot dodge that I was like on top of this guy, and I finished him in a really cool way. So I think I was really aggressive in that part anyway. And this part is not really. This is my least favorite one from this chapter because there's all this stuff in front of you. It's kind of obstructive. There's so much glass obstructing your view. The enemies will be hiding in those tiny rooms. But thankfully these enemies kind of rush you. So they're not like the other enemies in the previous chapter. This is another outfit that I like. You shouldn't be really doing what I'm doing. I'm wasting a lot of ammo that it's going to be really important to have for the next section. But it's just to make sure that the enemies are under pressure. And here's the quote-unquote boss fight. It's not a hard one. You just need to shoot a few tiles. And be careful that the boss can shoot through those little holes. Just shoot the stuff just to get to, just so the next part doesn't take that long. There'll be the additional spawn of 2 enemies, and that was really lucky. Look at that, they have so much accuracy. So yeah, I have 5 bullets. I have literally nothing with me. So, and it's always like this. Every time I do this part, I never have enough ammo for some reason. I never learned, I guess. But yeah, this is the end. This is my least favorite part, fortunately. Then we are in the last chapter, chapter 14. Well, compared to the last chapter, this is not that great, even though it has the most memorable part of the game because of the music. The airport section, the airport lobby section. Probably the most memorable part of the game, and unfortunately it's not as well designed as the previous sections. Fortunately, such a waste of a good music in my opinion. Even though on my hardcore difficulty I was a little bit more aggressive, but my patience for that lobby level wasn't the same as in the hardcore difficulty. Not really. So I played a little bit safer, and I guess it's a breath of fresh air for people that already watched my previous run, seeing me taking a different path and being less aggressive, even though it doesn't look as awesome. But yeah, this part is kind of tricky because of level design. Really a lot of obstruction. So it makes you really harder to see the enemies. They hide, but it's not really that bad. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as the lobby section. I'm not going to say the lobby section is bad. It's just it's not really designed for gunfights, is it? And it's I will assume that it's based on a real life location or a real life airport. So yeah, this part I'm going to play a little bit safe because again, this is a really weird location. you have a lot of visual obstruction compared to the enemies, and going through that door is really dangerous. You don't really have enough space to move, so you can, dodge the bullets unless you have bullet time. So try to take out as many enemies as you can before you rush. And that's a really hard section, this one, because the checkpoint starts you down there, starts you at the beginning of the chapter. So take your checkpoint right now, because that one on hardcore was pretty tricky. On old school, since I already knew, it didn't took me a lot of attempts. But this one is really good. I love when enemies just appear like that. It reminds me of on-rail shooters when enemies just appear and you need to have reflex and knowing where they are. That's why I love on-rail shooters. I know that on-rail shooters is a kind of a niche genre of gaming. A lot of people don't like it, and you can see how people don't like it because Rambo the video game, even though that game is bad, it's bad. It's not a bad game for the reasons that people say, and people really didn't like that game because one of the reasons was because it was an on-rail shooter. People didn't really like the fact that game was an on-rail shooter. Me, I love the fact that game is an on-rail shooter. I think that game is bad because there's some aspects to the on-rail shooting that are not really well designed and are not really executed correctly. But that game has really good on-rail shooting moments and really good design decisions in some levels. There's some levels that flow so well in Rambo that it's really good, but objectively that game it's bad. It's really bad. It's not good. It has weird animations, weird models, terrible QTEs. People are right to hate that game, but I don't think it's fair to judge that game like most people judge it. People judge that game because it looks bad and because Rambo's head is weird. I literally I know one person that told me, one friend of mine that saw that I made that the Rambo the video game run, and he said, "Why did you play that game? Stallone's head looks weird." And I was like, wow, okay, that's why Stallone's head being weird is a valid criticism for that game. I don't really know, and that's basically all the criticism that game gets is because Stallone's head is weird and the cutscenes are very bad. Audio is very bad, and I guess that's valid criticism in to some point, because I think a lot of people, I think that game is still enjoyable. I think if people liked on-rail shooters, would probably appreciate that game more, and just to see how niche on-rail shooters nowadays is, because people didn't really appreciate it, and I appreciate that game, and I think that game is really bad, and I still enjoyed it. I and this is the section, the really memorable section. If you're doing this casually, it's a good section. The music is very good, but if you're doing this no damage, it's the least good parts in this game. Unfortunately, it really pains me to say that because it's a really memorable section. It has good music too. But I have to play really safe because this is so big and the enemies are so far away and they can shoot you perfectly. But yeah, as I was saying, Unreal Shooters is a kind of genre of game that I really like, and even though it's not made nowadays, maybe I don't know if they're not made anymore, but at least for PCs, which is I think it was the main target. I mean, no, not the main target was the arcade machines with the light guns, but I think Unreal shooters only work if you have PCs, so that's why I think they are made. But if you think about it, it's more for the light gun uh, people in the arcades. And for the Wii too. There's a lot of Unreal shooters on the Wii. Really good ones like Resident Evil. And Dead Space Extraction has a really good is a really good Unreal shooter. It's probably the best Unreal shooter out there because that game really tests your reflexes because necromorphs are really fast enemies. But I think I already talked about that in my Resident Evil 6 run, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. As you can see, it seemed simple. This section seems simple, but it's not really that simple. It is tricky, and I got shot from really far away a lot of times. But after you go through that section, the rest of the game is really good. It's all good moments until the final boss, which it's not as good, in my opinion. Still, you can move. But yeah, this section is so good. This is where the game gets back to it. If you know, again, if you know the enemy spawns, if you know all of that, just the game will just flow so good. That's when games flow. And again, I will say it again, that's why I love Unreal shootings, because if you know everything, the game flow is so good. You feel like a god even though you aren't, you just know where they are. And your aiming is good because you practice so much in the same game. That's the type of game design that I like. Just consistency in enemy spawns makes the game so much more fluid, especially in third-person shooters. I just like the fast pacing of that aspect. And unfortunately, games nowadays go for more sophisticated AI, which I don't have a problem with. That's great. That's actually amazing that devs are finding these incredible AIs that, no, sorry about that, that can outsmart you. But I still like the good old AIs where just spawn in one place and you just need to kill them. That's why I love Trepang 2 so much than Fear 1, because Fear 1 AI is really known to be this really intelligent AI, even though it's not really, it's just so programmed in a really interesting way that makes people think that it's a really good, intelligent AI for the time, which it is for the time. It is a really good AI, but they are really smart, so they move around a lot. And on Trepang, that's not the thing. On Trepang, you can, if you know already the spawns, you can just wreck everyone. And if you're curious, I have a Trepang to no damage run, not a complete one. It's just missing a fight that is impossible to not take damage. But it's there if you want to watch it. It's very good game, very good demo, lots of potential. Oh yeah, I said the bad sections would end well. There's another bad one. I'm glad that it's short and it ends quickly, but not the strongest section in this game, is it? Just being in cover like a bitch and just... Oh, I hate these sections. And it seems that you get some sort of iframes too, like in the bus where you would get shot in your hands and you won't take damage. Here is quite the same. I guess the Rockstar just saw that it's a really tricky section. I guess, I don't know. I know what dictates these really generous moments in terms of taking damage. Yeah, it's the end. And then the next part is actually good. And I did better than in my hardcore run. Because it's just one line. Of course the enemies will hide from you, but you can kinda guess where they're going to be in the smoke. So I'm going to blind fire a little bit here. Give me a little bit of an advantage, give me a little bit of more shoot dodge. And then I will rush, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to get a little bit more shoot dodge and I'm just going to rush and be like badass, just shooting the sprays, flinching the enemies. So good. Using a little bit of the covers and doing the cover trick a little bit so I can get a little bit of an advantage. That's it. So good. Look at the line of bodies. And this is going to be the final section. You just need to do this and that's it. The end, basically the end of the game. The boss is not that hard. The boss is quite easy. You just need to know where everyone is going to be. Though, I'm not gonna lie, it took me like not two, I wish. It took me like 5 to 6 attempts. And a crash, of course. This game, as glitchy as it is, it crashes a lot, and it made me restart checkpoints from chapter select. And I'm still pissed about that because I didn't get my old school trophy. Which is great. And before we fight the boss, of course, we need to watch an skippable cutscene. I like the line that Max is going to say in this cutscene though. That one that at least he will die as a pain in the ass. I like when he says that. That's a really good philosophy to have in life. Like, at least you're going to die as a pain in the ass of in a pain in the ass of someone. That's a pretty good way to thinking. Give a damn. Yeah, this is what he said. I don't know what he exactly says because I don't have sound. But rich kid's toy. But I love this part. I really love the when Max calls them and stuff like that. It's sweet. But yeah, into the boss fight. You just need to be careful when he shoots the grenade. And if he shoots the grenade, just shoot dodge and try to shoot the grenade. If not, try to shoot dodge to a place where the grenade won't land. And you'll be fine. The rest is just knowing spawns, basically. Knowing spawns. And in that part, I don't know why I took cover in that part. I could just... Oh, maybe because he can grenade you in every direction, can't you? So if you are not in cover, probably he can grenade you in a really bad spot. But if you risk and go out of the cover, you can just kill all the guys before they come out of the jeep and just end it. And that's it. That's just the police car. And that's the end of this section. Of this boss, if you can call it that. Just that. Just finish off the guys that come off the police car and that's it. That's the end and you get a checkpoint here. Which is generous. This game has really good checkpoints, so I can't complain. Just a few checkpoints that are slightly bad, but they're not really that horrible compared to other games. And you just need to shoot them. And that's it, that's the game. And we have this cool car section. you'll get a trophy if you destroy every car or if you kill everyone. I don't know if it's killing everyone or if it's destroying every vehicle, but I think it's destroying every vehicle because I leave enemies behind. So if you use your shoot dodge, you will have a really good chance of destroying. Oh, sorry about that. Destroying every car, and you'll get the trophy. This trophy is not really that hard. It's hard to miss. Maybe you no, this shoot dodge gets you covered. Just reload when you need to reload and use the bullet time, and that's it. That's not really. It's not a really hard trophy, and if you really want this trophy, you can just chapter select this checkpoint and get it. I think you can do that. I don't know if it's one of those weird cases where if you use checkpoints, the trophy won't pop in, but that's it. That's it. That's the ending. Now just shoot the plane. It's not. I don't know what happens if you miss. I don't know if you can actually lose this. But yeah, this was a long journey. 3 hours and 48 and 45 minutes of commentary till now. Don't know how I did it. Tomorrow I probably won't be able to talk. I don't have other projects. This is my last one. Technically, Resident Evil 6 was my last run, but I'm working on other runs, and it will take quite a while to edit and do that stuff and finish them. And I really like this scene too. This is the best Max lines here. The one where he says, "You'll walk with a limp." I love that one. That's a really good line. You know I'll walk. I really love that line. And damn, oh, look how good Max looks. Just fucking hell, he looks amazing. Yeah, I know. You'll walk with a limp. I love that line. And that's it. That's really cool transition from the plane to the cigarette, and that's the end of the game. So, so if so, I hope you enjoyed this run. Hope my commentary wasn't really that bad, and hope that at least you will understand most of what I say without subtitles. And I hope you have a great time, and I'll see you in the next project.
Local justice.